If you like this show, but you're always on the go, look it up on Spotify and Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcast. It's a podcast, man. Come on. Press Start Turbo is also available on podcasting apps. And now, on with the show.
Hello and welcome to Press Start Turbo. On today's episode, we're going to be taking a deep dive into Warner Bros. Recent business decisions. Then we'll be talking to Maguma about developing his indie fighting game, Burning Souls. And to wrap up, we'll be talking about our experiences with Dragon's Dogma 2.
It's peak.
It's peak!
It's good.
Today I'm joined as always by Billy and two special guests today, SuperRAD and Punk Duck. Welcome to the show, guys.
It's like one special guest.
Hey, you guys know that guy Maguma? He's my boy. We jork it together. I call him Maguna.
But before we get to, all of that stuff,
Before we get to gooning,
there's been some changes to Press Start Turbo.
yes.
We've taken like a inventory, I guess, of how the show's been, and we felt like there needed to be some changes. So we're having a more focused first half where we just go into one topic rather than trying to cover a broad range of things.
Yeah.
And we have a new segment that we're going to start off with. We're calling it The Cell. Billy, do you want to explain it?
I don't, because then Ed's just gonna go.
I got it.
Gonna be complaining Nancy about it. I
So
don't want to fucking deal
basically,
with it.
each
Yeah,
one.
you explain.
you explain it.
Basically,
You
people
explain
take
it.
turns gushing about a game that they want other people to play, and then when they're done, people have to slam their buzzer like it's Jeopardy, and then that's the person that gets to go next. And each person gets like 4 minutes
4 minutes.
to do
4
it.
minutes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, this sounds awesome.
So you did listen. You were just fucking lying.
No, it just sounds lame as shit, but I'm really excited to be here.
You're such a downer, man.
So much
Such a
negativity.
terrible fucking vibe, dude.
Hey, man, I'm not on the payroll anymore. I'd have to pretend I give a shit. Hey, who goes first?
They kicked you off of the payroll?
No, they kicked me off because I was too awesome.
No, I mean, I'm sure there was a
In
reason.
parentheses, racist.
In parentheses, awesome.
Yeah. To quote most of the comments and replies when you announced that you were leaving the show, PST podcast has become woke.
Yep.
Straight woke.
The wokes.
He is the anti-woke.
The wokes finally got to them.
Please stop woking.
Okay, I'm gonna start because no one else is gonna fucking end this goddamn cycle.
Wait, I got this.
Hey. Anyway, start the timer. I'm picking the movie Immaculate, starring Sydney Sweeney.
It's not
what I
out.
wanna
You're
go
not
with.
out.
Oh
It's Cameron's
my
turn.
God.
It's Cameron's turn.
Is that
It's
movie
my
out?
turn.
You
Hell no.
literally, it's ticking. The clock is ticking. You stupid
okay.
fuck.
I want to talk about Balatro or Beltro or I don't know, whatever other people.
Banger.
Oh, the Leon game.
This is a
Let me know when
Rogue-
4 minutes have passed.
yeah, it's a
Wow.
roguelike, so it's turned off already. This is a game
It's
where
a banger.
Looks cool.
It has the premise of poker, but you basically fucking make up the rules as you go along with the jokers that you add to your deck that completely change it. It's incredibly addictive. If I was a betting man, I'd say we're on the second monitor to like 90% of our audience playing Balatro right now.
I would not be surprised.
It's been my podcast game. Every time I go to listen to something, I'm playing Balatro, or I am, if it's the only thing that's been able to tear me away from Dragon's Dogma, which is like saying a lot. It's, I don't know, the presentation is insane as well. If anyone's seen any screenshots of it or the music, and just the sound design, it's just like, it really gets
They got that fucking card shuffle.
yeah,
sound.
the riffle sounds
dude, it
are
sounds
really,
so
really good. It feels great. Like when you are going to, so there's like antes that you have to meet per round. When your single hand is going to beat the ante, you can see that like the numbers start going on fire and stuff like that. It's just like, it's one of those things where it's like, it's hitting that that part of my brain, that part of my monkey brain that just gets so into it and like yeah, I can just play one more hand, or like, you know, I'll just play one more run. I got so close to beating it. And
Dude,
then
casinos would love you. It's crazy.
yes, casinos would love me. It's addictive, but it's got no microtransactions, any way to capitalize on it other than it just being like an amazing game. And
Yeah.
I don't know what else to say other than like, if you haven't played it, you're doing yourself a disservice. Even if you don't like roguelikes.
That's what I
like
always
some
hear.
people in the audience who don't like
trust
roguelikes.
me, all this random bullshit is actually
I like
really
opening
cool.
packs. It's a card game. It's always random. It's a card
yeah,
game.
exactly. It's a card game.
It's also always fucking random. It's Jack Black.
It's poker, but
He's Mr.
poker.
Borderlands.
He
Yeah,
is Mr. Borderlands. He plays Claptrap.
oh no.
But yeah, I don't know. It's one of those games that has like really sunk its hooks into me, and the progression system as well. The frequency within that you unlock new stuff and new interesting things is just like pitch perfect.
I love that movie.
Yeah, I don't know what else to say. Has it been 4 minutes?
It has been like 2 minutes. I want it to be 2 minutes now.
You overestimated the.
Let me
the
tell you,
time.
Cameron, the only thing you sold for me was a nice pillow.
Oh my goodness.
Why you so Ed? Why you so?
Time's
why you so
up!
negative? Wait,
My turn to talk.
Oh, that's how it works?
Yeah.
Yes. I want to talk about Killer is Dead.
What, you just played Killer is Dead for like the first?
No, I just think Killer is Dead is fucking awesome, and people should play it because it's way better than people say it is.
Do people say Killers is Dead is bad?
There's a lot of people that think that
That's a
Killer is
Suda
Dead is
game,
kind of
right?
lame. It is a Suda 51 game. The Nightmare Edition is always fucking $2 on Steam.
But also the Steam version is broken. You need to change an any file a shitload.
No, you can use a patch. There's some mods for it, and it actually does fix a lot of the game. And also, it comes with the huge caveat of you have to at least play an hour in to get to the point where you can actually use the parry. And then once you unlock the parry, the game becomes fucking incredible. It's so strange. It's Suda 51 as fuck.
That game is.
I don't think
that game is $27 Canadian right
No
now.
fucking way. That's crazy. Just wait for a sale.
That's Monopoly money.
It's Monopoly. Yeah,
Also, check GG deals because that's what on Steam.
that's my goat.
Yeah, it's probably
aggregate
in
site.
there. The action is fucking raw as hell. Fucking story is weird, like full of philosophy, and you have to stare at breasts.
Oh, I hate that.
Yeah, it's,
No, you love that. You
it's
love staring
too,
at breasts
you're
for
not telling me.
Rad,
bonuses.
it's $2 on GOG right now.
Oh, cool.
That's what I thought. It's got a lot of great stuff. It's got a lot of Suda-isms. It's a game that I can't believe actually exists because of how strange it is. It's auteur work at its fucking finest.
And auteur work. You want to talk about the Gigolo missions?
Just Gigolo missions.
Did I fucking stutter, dude? Did I fucking stutter? No, I goddamn did not. Killer is Dead is a fucking classic.
I don't know. It's no Lollipop Chainsaw.
It's a game for fucking perverts, and you're not ready.
I didn't like Lollipop Chainsaw. I think
I
Killer
did
Play
not
fucking
like-
rules.
Killer is Dead fucking rules. Lollipop Chainsaw rules. That's all I'm gonna say. I fucking hate the baseball minigame. It pisses me off, and that's my 2 minutes. Go fuck yourself.
Oh damn.
Ed's turn.
No, not really, because I'm
That's
still
not how it works.
scrolling through my Steam library. I
Someone
don't know.
fucking pressed the soundboard button. Jesus Christ.
This is the worst
There we
segment
go.
we've ever done, I think.
I don't like video games. I don't know why you guys had me on the show.
Dude hates video games. I've ever
fuck?
met
Talk
somebody.
about a game.
Just started right before Dragon's Dogma 2 came out. I started playing Outward for the first time.
I have no idea what that
Outward.
is.
Oh,
Is that the,
I know what that is. It's the
Survival game?
Yeah.
Kind of. I wouldn't call it a survival sim because it's like it's not
this
like
shit.
focused on that necessarily, but it's also just a very harsh world, so you have to like.
It's not. I thought it was a
prepare.
survival game.
It's like survive. Like I'm putting it in quotations, like survival. Like you start in a fucking city where like you don't have to worry about anything. Like you're surviving pretty fine. You know what I mean? It's like it's when you actually go out into the world and want to do something that like shit hits the fan. It's like
I see.
yeah, it's like it's one of those games where like it's like a survival game in the sense that everything matters. Like if you're in a hot area, you have to like make sure you're keeping cool, and if you're in a cool area, you got to make sure you're keeping warm, and like your backpack the weight of your backpack matters, and you have to like drop your backpack in combat if you want to be able to like move around freely because it's so fucking heavy.
It's like Dragon's Dogma.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Dead ass is, yeah. So you played Dragon's Dogma before playing Dragon's Dogma.
I played a Dragon's
basically.
Dogma. I don't want to call it. I don't want people to get mad at me because I was gonna say I played a Dragon's Dogma knockoff before I played Dragon's Dogma.
Oh my god! I played a Dogma like.
Yeah, I played a Dogma like. That's a good way of putting it. I played a Dogma like. Like, dude, even food like decays over time in that game, and I was like, this is Dragon's Dogma. I'm playing Dragon's Dogma right now.
It's MGS3.
Yeah.
Go on.
Oh shit!
I didn't get super far into it, but it had a lot of really cool concepts. It is like one of the most like janky ass.
Is
games.
it early access?
No. That it's like, dude, I got like the definitive edition. It's been out for a long time.
Oh, I thought I didn't know it was out.
It's one of those games where like the people that like really preach for it are like the people that fucking hate themselves. If you know what I mean. Like they're like oh, I love Dark Souls. I want something even harder than Dark Souls. I only like games. Yeah, I only like games that like punish me for literally every.
Shut up, Ed.
What happened?
Your turn.
Oh shit.
Oh fuck. Hey, little boys and girls. Let me tell you about a little game called Metal Gear Solid 3. It's the. Dude,
That's
all I got.
all you had, bro.
I don't
Really? You had
MGS3?
like fucking 20 minutes to figure this out.
You had like he had like 5
It's kind of
minutes.
crazy
By the
that
way, your
nobody's
time's-
letting me talk.
Yeah, well, you have to fucking go beyond, dude.
What?
The timer's already started.
Talk about
Tell me.
MGS4.
Tell me about MGS4 and do it quick.
So MGS3 is the greatest game ever made. It's probably the most well-designed.
Oh my god.
All right, I don't care. Next segment.
No, keep going. No.
Keep going.
No, keep going.
Because I'm going to take lip from 3 fucking, like, one of them recommended a card game. The other one
I like
recommended
MGS3.
The other one recommended a fucking Rust-like, and the other one recommended
I love
Killer's
Rust.
Dead, a game that nobody here is going to play, and nobody listening is definitely going to play. Then I don't.
It's fucking $2.
I don't give a shit. We're
Motherfuckers will
moving
definitely
on.
check it out. No.
Sorry, I'm over here recommending an actual video game for people that have taste. I forgot this was the segment called "Recommend Your Shovelware" that you're going to play for 5 minutes and then refund.
Oh my.
This
I
dude's
think
a
it's just
bad vibe.
All I'm gonna say. I think it's funny that you're recommending like one of the most popular fucking games ever.
Yeah, because I don't fucking like. I went through my Steam library and I was like, "This is all trash." What was the last game I
you got
played?
you got MGS3 on Steam, bro.
Yeah.
God damn.
Oh, you got the Master Collection? How's
Yeah.
the Master Collection?
I mean, it's a port, nothing crazy. It comes with what's it called? Snake's Revenge. That game's fucking dog shit. But yeah, it works. You need a
I don't
controller to
remember.
play it.
Shut up.
Oh,
We're done.
that was 2 minutes. Damn.
No, I cut him off.
Oh, that's fair. I don't remember Snake's Revenge. Which one is
I'm
it?
loving this episode.
That segment could have gone better.
I don't know about. I think this might be the worst segment ever, but some people just didn't want to play.
I mean, I only got interrupted like 20 times when I started. I let everybody else talk.
What are you
the
talking
point. Wow,
about,
that's
Ed?
unfun.
The first thing
That is
you did was
unfun.
the first thing you did was say, "I'm getting a pillow."
I said I'm getting a pillow after you were done talking. That was, I let you talk. I didn't talk the whole time you were talking. I let you
this
say
is the
your
worst
piece.
segment we've ever done for any show.
Why are we arguing?
Glad it wasn't my decision.
All
right, let's
you
go to
guys
Water
just said I
Bros.
did the same thing. I didn't interrupt anyone. What the fuck is this?
Ed, you're being toxic, man. This is
Oh,
Being really
my
fucking
God.
toxic.
Being
No wonder
toxic.
you left the show.
Okay.
Speaking of being toxic, what if we talked about the Warner Brothers games, everything, just everything going on with fucking Warner Brothers Discovery, streaming, and games.
You're gonna have to explain it to me because
Yep.
I didn't keep up with this.
Okay, we'll give you an outline. So basically, Warner Bros. Since their merger with Discovery, which happened,
It's wasn't it with AT&T Discovery?
AT&T already owned Warner Bros. From memory, and
Okay.
then they merged with Discovery.
Yes. Okay.
But anyway, since that merger, they have been making a lot of changes to their business and their decision making around the business. Recently, that has affected their games division, where they have gone through, delisted a bunch of games that were published under the Adult Swim publishing division as part of Warner Bros.
So far, there's 3 that have been properly that we are 100% sure are getting delisted. There was Sound Dodger
Yep.
Plus.
Small radios, big televisions. That was the other one.
And Fist Puncher as well, which is
Fist Puncher.
the other one. What happened is that it was impending. It was they were given 60 days for the removal. And when the devs got this email, obviously the first thing they said was, "Can you transfer the game to me so we don't have to lose all those like wish lists and community guides and forum discussions and all these other things and trading cards."
I think it's also really important to point out that these aren't recent games. These are games that have been
these are old
like
games.
10
years.
Small Radios, Big Televisions came out in 2016, Fist Puncher 2013, and Sound Dodger
Same
as
with
well.
Sound Dodger.
These are like
It's
games
also
that have been
2013. Like these
Yes.
are old games. These games don't have upkeep anymore. They're long. They have long been out. It's been 11 years. They don't need updates. They don't need marketing. All they need is to stay on the stores, and that's it. And now they're being threatened to to just be fucking delisted in 60 days, and it's very baffling. Nobody understands why. But when the developers of Sound Dodger, Michael Molinari, asked for a transfer, and he was basically told outright, like,
Yeah, I'll just quote directly. So this is reporting from Michael McWhirton from Polygon. So basically, this is Michael Molinari, who released Sound Dodger Plus in 2013. This is the quote. I pleaded with the rep to transfer ownership to my company, as I still retain all IP and game rights. I sent him a link to Steam's transfer page and explained clearly that it takes literally 3 clicks to transfer ownership to me. He rejected my request. Molinari said that Warner Bros. Discovery representatives said the decision to not transfer ownership back to developers, in quotes, stems from logistical and resource constraints and the limited capacity of our team. Which...
What?
Yes.
There is one thing in this that we know for a fact, and it is that Adult Swim Games has been operating as a skeleton crew for a while, pretty much ever since Warner Brothers merged with Discovery. So that's the one thing that we know for a fact. But any motherfucker can do 3 clicks.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
They don't own the IP. They just distribute it.
Yeah, they own the distribution rights.
It's corporate jargon, you know?
It absolutely is, because the thing is, all these games under the Adult Swim distribution are not owned by Warner Brothers. They're not owned by Adult Swim Games. They're only distributed by them. That means that once Sound Dodger or Fist Puncher or whatever game gets delisted because of God knows, they can just self-publish. They can just self-publish the game again, and there would be no issue. The only problem is that now they would lose all these great reviews, all the wish lists,
Everything's
all
gone.
the everything's gone.
Community guides, forum discussions. They can't old owners, like they will retain their version of the game, and their achievements and trading cards won't carry over to like whatever the new version is. And also the other requests that they had for the legal requirements for republishing the game was to remove any and all mention of Adult Swim games. And like Molinari said, he's like, asked for clarification. Even he wants the credit sequences altered to remove the names of the Adult Swim Games team, which is
fucking awesome.
Which is
so cool.
It's just like your room. Like, what is the I can kind of glean, like Warner Bros. Discovery haven't said anything publicly about why they're doing things like this. So all we can do is like speculate on their decision-making process for things like this.
Yeah.
The only reason that I can kind of glean is like some kind of implied, like they upkeep costs for continuing to have the publishing rights for this, like maybe they have to pay some like royalty or something like that, which
the residuals do have to be paid.
Right.
Like when somebody buys one of the games that we just mentioned, at the end of the day, there are going to be residuals that have to be paid by Warner Brothers. And that's what, like, because I don't think there's like a cost for upkeep.
No, it's
like
out. It's done.
Yeah, it's been out for years. There's no more updates. Like these devs have moved on. They're making new games. It's just a ridiculous situation that doesn't make a lot of sense. The one thing that I saw people speculate on is that they want to clear up their catalog to make space for IP. Because currently, the Warner Brothers Discovery Streaming and Games CEO, John Briac Perret, said that they want to have more live service games and they want to focus on games that are actual IP.
Yes.
Like fucking, I don't know, Black Adam, Harry Potter. They want to focus on that stuff. So some people are speculating that maybe they're just clearing up all these older games that they like, indie games that they were publishing, just so that they can be like, oh no, we don't associate with this. We associate with our prestige IP and our prestige brands that have been there for fucking 20 years.
But that doesn't
It's
even
ridiculous.
to me that doesn't hold any water, because nobody's gonna look at fucking, you know, one of these small indie games that is published, like there's no mention of Warner Brothers apart from Adult Swim games.
Absolutely not.
No one's looking at Adult Swim games and thinking, man, these like this Warner Bros gone downhill. They don't even make any.
What the fuck? They're publishing Duck Game now? Jesus Christ!
This isn't one of their 50 IPs that they own. You know, like it's.
I mean, it makes zero fucking sense. But also, these decisions are made by people who just don't understand the market. Multiverses. Everything surrounding multiverses, everything surrounding fucking their push to go back to live service after how horrendously it failed with Kill the Justice League. What are they doing?
Well, it's just interesting the like dichotomy between their most successful game being Harry Potter, which is this, you know, single player game, and then them pointing to the success of that and saying, this could have been more successful if it was a live service game.
Yeah.
Which is like missing the context of why people like bought a shit ton of that game. And obviously the IP is like a massive part of it, but also it's the context of what that IP is being used for. Like, I don't think people would have been as interested in that game if it was Destiny with wizards. Exactly. Or you look at Suicide Squad as the exact, like, they have another example of that exact thing. Like, Suicide Squad and, like, you know, the Justice League is this massive IP and brand, and it didn't fail because of its IP, like it was a bad IP that they used or something like that. It failed because of the context that it was being used in, which was a live service game.
Because it was, yeah, exactly. It failed because it was a live service, fucking awful money making scheme.
That's the first, like, everybody who would see, like, I remember one of the first tweets when they showed off like the demo for the game at, I don't remember, I think it was like Summer Games Fest or some shit.
Yeah.
The first thing that people did was screenshot the pause menu, point at all the currencies and say, I want to vomit.
Yeah.
That is the correct fucking, that is exactly how I felt fucking seeing that. That's disgusting.
That's the biggest issue with that game. And like, I always found it weird, like people got really mad at that game for like other reasons that were like not nearly as justifiable. When like
what are the other reasons?
People got mad that one of the villains pissed on a fucking, I think the Flash after killing him or something like that.
Oh yeah,
What?
I did remember seeing that actually.
I did not see
Yeah,
that.
but-
That's funny as
But
hell.
they get mad in this like they are insulted for the Flash. Like
Yeah.
the fictional
real
character.
person.
There was-
The real
Yeah.
man.
There
the
was
Flash.
also like, because this was Kevin Conroy's last role as Batman. I remember there being
I
like a
remember
lot
that.
of
They
people.
handled that really bad. It, like some people complain about it for like weird reasons, like him dying in it or whatever. Spoiler. I don't know if I can say that.
I mean,
Who cares?
No
the game
offense,
sucks.
but the game
But-
is horrible, and
Yeah.
it's one of the reasons why we're talking about it right now.
Yeah, but so like there's story related reasons that were already signed off on before like his death or whatever.
Well,
that,
yeah,
like,
he recorded
like,
the
that-
lines.
Like,
yeah, he recorded the lines. So that's gonna happen.
if he
right?
was against it, against it, do you think he would have fucking done the
No,
lines?
exactly. So the real like disrespect is at the end of the game when they're like, you know, rest in peace to Kevin Conroy, he amazing human being, and then it immediately goes into like it flashes over to like, you unlock this skin,
Loot
you unlock
screen.
this skin.
Yeah, yeah,
Unlocked, epic, legendary.
Like, time to play the game
It sucks
again.
because I do. I do actually think that it was a very sweet moment, and it held the note as it showed his like the in memoriam and everything, and it was like, oh, this is like really, really nice.
Yeah.
Legendary unlocked. Like, oh my god.
All this to say, like, I haven't played the game, so I don't exactly know how they handled Batman. I'm sure it wasn't a great version of that character, right? Like, I'm sure there's like reasons to complain about it. I just felt like conflating that with it somehow being a great disrespect to this guy who, you know, got paid and recorded lines for this game. Just it's like you're putting like an idea. Like to me, that's more disrespectful to the dead guy, because you're putting thoughts into this dude who can't like come out and like disagree with you or anything. You're putting like, oh, this is how he would have felt about it, and it's like you don't know.
I think it's so funny that they're like no, like they did all that, they figured it all out, they recorded it, he got paid, and they're like, the people that are complaining are like, oh no, you should have changed it because he died, because the voice actor died in real life. And I'm like, no.
How are they gonna record new lines?
Yeah, that's not how this works at all.
I mean,
AI.
Either
we got
way,
AI now. We'll AI. They would be so fine with that too. They talk about disrespect. They would be so fine with like AI. Kevin Conroy. Insane.
We're
way off.
We're like completely.
But it's good. No, it's fine.
But it's like,
it kind of goes into their whole strategy is just being insane, and it kind of like, you know, the rock comes from the head, or what is the saying? It's like fruit falls far from the tree, it's of the tree. I don't know. Anyway,
don't horse the mouth in the
tree.
Yeah.
Exactly. Perfect. We nailed that. It kind of wraps back to Warner Bros. Like wider strategy, which has been to reduce a lot of costs or to write things off in tax. Like there have been the notorious stories of Batgirl, and,
Coyote versus Acme,
which I'll never forgive them for. That movie sounded like it was gonna bang.
It sounds so funny. It's upsetting, but it's business, baby. It's just so strange because it's hard. Like this whole segment talking about Warner Brothers games, we don't have anything like any answer to any of this happening. All we're saying is get your shit together. What the fuck are you doing? Like, what the hell is happening? It's confusing because you're not sure if it's like, are you looking for short-term gain over long-term sustainability? Like,
yeah, well, that's exactly it. I think, like, if I was to like speculate on it, it's just they want to reduce the amount of costs that they have, so in the short term their cash flow looks a lot better, which for the executives like David Zaslav or whoever, or the executive C-suite, their term KPI, which is key performance indicators, that they like have to, they're like, okay, so we want to make a certain amount of money in this year with a certain amount of costs, and to increase that you're reducing the costs, whether it be layoffs, tax write-offs, where you can say that, hey, we never released this movie, so we're actually not going to make any money on all the money that we spent on it, so then you get a massive short-term tax relief rather than it being spread out over the years. All this is just like in service of these people at the top who are like, okay, I want to make as much money as fast as possible. And it's really gross because it's actually affecting the lives of people who either make these movies or these games. Because, if something doesn't get released or it gets delisted, that is something that you can't put in your portfolio. This is something that you can't, you don't gain residuals on, etc.
Residuals, like straight up, if they shelve that shit, you're not getting royalties. You're getting fucking nothing. You're getting zero recognition for those years and years and years of work you put in, and you're getting absolutely nothing in royalties either. And it's not like those royalties are going to be amazing or anything, because that's a whole other fucking can of worms, but it's still like it's gross. Mm-hmm. Just gross, dude. Icky PU shit.
I think the other thing, which I find insane as well, is their treatment of multiverses, which is being re-released. Is it this year that it's being re-released?
Oh, it's coming back out.
Yes, it's coming back out. Multiverses is coming back It originally came out, was it 2022?
God, I don't know.
It was technically in an open beta state, but they still had full microtransactions and things like that. Its player base dropped by 99% before they ended up delisting it and then coming out with a screen of like, we will return or something like that.
I remember that time vaguely, but how it looked was they were selling a shit ton of microtransactions and a shit ton of, like, wasn't there just straight up a season pass?
Yeah, it was a season pass.
A lot of people spent a lot of money on that game, and they were not very open with people, and people are spending money and they don't want their purchases to disappear. And that's a greater problem in gaming in general, because like, let's be real, if Steam disappears, I just lost like a few $1,000, probably a $1 billion, and nothing is ever too big to fail. That's like one of the things that people say all the time, too big to fail. That is not real. Anything can happen in life, and it can absolutely happen. They basically, how it looked for the most public multiverses was like, oh, you took my money and you ran.
Well,
that's the sentiment I saw.
It will
online.
be interesting to see what happens when it relaunches, if they will honor like the purchases people made during the open beta.
If they don't, I think the game's dead.
I don't think it's just gonna die anyway, because from all intents and purposes, people didn't like that game.
I don't see it like succeeding.
It's so confusing that.
Are you telling me you're not gonna go to your local fighting game tournament and see a multiverses booth?
Our local fighting game tournaments do not run platform fighters.
Seriously, ours is full of Smash. I mean,
there's Smash communities, but like in my area, but our big FGC group is like fighting games. You know what I mean?
You just angered so
traditional
many
fighting games. You can Smash is a fighting game.
Real games for real gamers.
Yeah, real games for real.
We
players.
We don't play platform games. We don't play your party games here. It's real. Traditional games.
That's not what I'm saying.
Good old fashioned Street Fighter, and we only play footsies and neutrals. No supers here.
Oh my god.
We only play that one Toho fighting game with no timer, and every round takes 5 minutes.
My buddy was that's what your buddy. He's like the best. He's the best person at that fucking game too. That's so funny.
One of the funniest fucking games I've ever watched. I understood nothing, and it took fucking forever. Awful game.
So
I hate it.
Oh
fuck.
But yeah, like, I don't know. People didn't looked at multiverses, and they kind of, it's on its face what the purpose of that game is, right?
Yeah.
Like they're cramming as much of the IP that they own into the game, regardless of like context or anything like that. Like they're like, all right, let's put as much stuff that people can point at and be like, oh, I know that, I remember that.
I remember Gremlins.
Exactly. It's it's fucking South Park.
I remember Black Adam.
Like it's just like, ooh, yummy. Arya Stark. I remember that. That was good until it wasn't. But yeah, it's just on its face just really cynical, and I think people understood that. I just don't. It's just
a confusing situation. There's literally like, and it's even more confusing because none of the execs want to talk about what's going on, and there's just a lot. It's obvious there's a lot of internal changes in the company, and it's obvious that.
I mean, it's just greed, right?
It's greed. Like, I mean, there's greed somewhere in there. It's just impossible to parse where the greed is exactly, or if it, because like these decisions are all so stupid. Like they want to focus on live service games, but all the live service games they've been putting out have been failures.
Well, yeah, it's.
Like what are they? It's literally they don't understand the market they're on. They understand that it's volatile. They just don't understand why, and they just don't understand what they're doing.
Yeah, again, it's just short-term profits over long-term stability. It's how can I make $10 today rather than how can I make $100 in 4 or 5 years or something like that. It's it's just. I don't know, and
it's the way this should be.
We'll see how this plays out. It's kind of one of those things where this is a massive conglomerate and they own so much stuff that it is concerning because it has knock-on effects on games preservation. And you even look at like their streaming services where they're deleting like mass swaths of their like content portfolio so they don't have to pay people.
We're not talking about like new releases. Like we're talking about old releases also in their catalog. Like a lot of Warner Brothers, even Disney has been doing this where on Disney Plus they remove like a shit ton of their catalog for no fucking reason. Like media preservation at large is being fucked over by these companies over greedy, stupid fucking shit that makes no goddamn sense.
Yeah, I don't try to like theorize on the reasoning necessarily because I don't feel like I have like obviously we don't have their internal knowledge, but like there's whatever we get to watch it not work. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I'm sure
there has to be a reasoning.
Well, yeah, obviously like they have people hired that are professionals at saving them money, and there's a reason that they're doing things the way that they're doing. It's just not good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
it also on the outside looking in, it
looks awful.
Looks ridiculous. It looks like
optics
a bunch of not looking good, chef.
Yeah, exactly.
Not looking good, chef. But you know what is looking good? You know what's looking real fucking good? Burning Souls is looking good, my friend.
What the fuck is Burning Souls?
Maguma's game.
Maguma.
Who we interviewed.
Maguma?
You're just going to have to find out at the interview section of this episode.
I wasn't there. It's not my fault.
Hello and welcome to the interview portion of Press Start Turbo. Today we're joined by Maguma. He is a long-time cosplayer and convention runner who has started making his own indie fighting game called Burning Souls. Please welcome to the show, Maguma.
Hey, how's it going, everybody?
Sweet.
Hey.
Awesome. Nice to meet you.
Thanks for having me.
No worries. I just want to start off just so people can get an idea and get to know you a little bit. Just like a little bit about yourself, like your history and how you got started working on Burning Souls.
Sure. So I've been doing cosplay, convention running, and gaming for pretty much most of my life, probably like around high school. And I've been really invested and involved in fighting games since around then. I used to play a lot of games on MAME when I wasn't supposed to at school.
Oh, man.
Right? The old thumb drive plugged into the machine, turn the laptop so no one sees you.
I know I've done that.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
But so I was big into fighting games, and like my big pleasure was playing like X-Men versus Street Fighter, Marvel Superheroes, Marvel versus Capcom 1. And then when I got into college, we had a set of cabs everywhere. And I kind of did this really cool stepladder of tag fighters where I was playing X-Men versus Street Fighter a lot. That was the game I was like most seasoned at. And then we had that. We had Marvel vs. Capcom 1 and Marvel 2 all under the same roof.
Ooh.
So I had this really fun stepping stone of, okay, well, now I'm playing Marvel 1 and I'm getting used to like assists and doing that fun thing. And then eventually I made it into Marvel 2. And that's the game I fell in love with. And in general, I've loved all fighting games, big into Street Fighter, Arc Sys games. I've kind of played a little bit of everything. I'm not super great at 3D fighters, but I do enjoy them. Shout outs, Bloody Roar, please make a new one day.
Oh, God, yeah, please.
God, it's needed.
I'm on my knees begging. Holy shit.
What a mood.
I love that game.
What a mood. Love that game
dude.
to death. Me and my brother played that game till the wheels fell off. Love that game.
Oh, man.
But yeah, tag fighters have just been the thing that I love a lot. And just like any other weeb, I've always had the imagination of like, oh man, what if I made my own video game? If I could be in a fighting game, wouldn't that be so cool? And that eventually led to the start of what Burning Souls has now become, where I had back in like 2015, 2016, there was like this cool art prompt on Twitter. It was like, oh, draw yourself as like a Guilty Gear persona. Like, what would you be like if you were a Guilty Gear character? And that was a really cool art idea. So I drew myself as a Guilty Gear character. And that was so fun that I wanted to draw like my friends. I did art commissions. I drew people that I also knew who were in the fighting game community or a big part of that scene. But then it was like, okay, but now that I have this design, what are their moves though? And then like, okay, what's their backstory though, and like what's the versus screen look like, and it just my Photoshop knowledge and video editing knowledge, and I started creating all these mock like images and pieces, and it just kind of got away from me after a couple of years where I was just creating more and more and more, and then at Evo 2018 I made a fake video game case for the PS4. And I made my own manual. So I spent the time to make move lists and like rules.
Cool.
I went really hard because I was like, wouldn't it be funny if I went to Evo with my fake video game and had all my friends and like some of my YouTuber buddies who were like into fighting games take photos with this? That would be fun. And so I did. And I posted some stuff to Twitter, and then it ended up on the Super Best Friends Reddit. And some people were like, hey, yo, but actually this kind of looks interesting. Hold on a second. And people started like diving through my Twitter and looking at all of my fake video game ideas. That followed with one morning, a roommate at Evo was like, hey, have you seen this? And someone on Reddit goes, oh, I bumped into that guy the other day at Evo. I heard he's going to be releasing a trailer and a demo soon. And it's like,
What?
yeah.
Oh my god.
So some person is blatantly lying on Reddit, and my buddies are like, well, what are you going to do about that? That's crazy. Like, are you going to say something?
Yeah, I'll do it.
Yeah, the only
I'll fucking do it.
The only response was, well, I've come this far, BSing it. Time to double down harder. That Evo, I went home and I hit up a voice actor buddy of mine, and I was like, hey, I'm gonna make this like teaser trailer for my fake video game, and I just kind of need this like really ominous, like kind of sinister, foreboding, Thanos-esque like monologue, like quick 20-second thing. Could you do me a solid? And he puts together this amazing like audio clip that he sends to me, and I create this super bare bones teaser that just has background art, some particle effects floating through the screen, and some ominous like Himalayan kind of music. And it's just this text, the logo reveal, and just 6 souls ignite in 2019. And that's it. No photos, no character designs, no gameplay, just some text about like, hey, yo, burning souls, logo, characters coming soon. And that's it.
So you kind of got like bit checked into making a video game.
What
Yeah,
the fuck? Yeah, you got bit checked into
100. And then so I made that video.
I didn't know anything about that. All I knew, because how we got you on here was because we Ed and I played your game in the lobby at MagFest.
Yeah.
We didn't know any of this stuff. This is way funnier. This is so fucking funny.
It doesn't end there.
Fucking rocks.
So it still goes, right? So this video is made. I go to the Reddit, I find that thread, I find that guy, and I just post the link with a little winky face emoji and nothing else. And after like an hour or so, that guy's like, oh shit, oh damn it, I was lying. Oh no, I didn't realize this was real. Oh shit. And it was just like, okay, well now I have to keep going, and I have to make this more elaborate. And eventually the plan was to animate an attraction reel. I was going to do the main menu, the character select screen, the little versus loading screen, and the video was gonna like crash right before the match starts, and it would cut to like me and my friends in like an office room, be like, that's bad. We need to. The game is not. Can we fit in this another raw cut?
Yeah.
And I told that to a buddy of mine, and he's like, dude, you should stop it. Just make the video game. You're wasting your time. Just do it.
At that point, just make the fucking game.
So that's when I was like, okay, I guess I'm going to make a real video game now. And 2018 was the start of actual doing the research, putting in like real active effort on designing these characters and what things would look like. And then in 2020, during quarantine, I had been searching for 2 years to find people who knew programming, because I don't. And a buddy of mine was like, hey, I know you've been looking for people to help you. I know some programming. I'd be happy to help you get started. And he just asked me for like a couple assets of like proof of concept animations I had made. And I gave him those. And he found Game Maker Studio online, found some tutorials, and slapped together this very bare bones first draft build. And he sends it to me. And I'm like, I'm using my arrow keys to control a character that I drew, and I'm moving around on a screen. And
that's
it's just like,
oh man, that's like the dream, isn't it?
The doors like
that's so crazy.
Opened. I could see like the storm clouds parted like a perfect circle, and I saw the heavens, and I'm like, this is it. We got this. A game can be made. And that was the launch pad for where I'm at now.
What was your background before you got started? Did you have any like game dev experience at all or anything? None.
Zero.
Literally just got bid checked into making a game. That's
100.
That's not the story. That's not the story or angle I thought we would have for this interview.
A mad
I
desire.
don't even know where to go from that.
A wild desire to make a game.
What was it like then in those early days when you don't really have that kind of background and it must have been like a scramble and like you've been asking around and stuff like that, I imagine, for like help with this? Was that like what was that experience like?
That was probably like the wildest part. So originally, the person who basically was like, stop fucking around and make the game, stop trying to bamboozle people. He helped me get started with like putting my mental process on the right track of like, okay, figure out your characters, figure out what's going on. Let's try to solidify like a general story here so that you have something to work around. And that got the cart moving. And then I knew very early on that I would need people to help with art because like I'm not an animator, but I went to school for character design and storyboarding. So drawing characters, super easy. Brainstorming movesets. I've been playing fighting games for like over a couple decades now. I've got it down, but it was the programming side and a little bit of some like graphic design, UI, UX stuff that I definitely needed help with. And my day job at the time I was a graphic design tutor at my college. So a lot of my coworkers did programming, did graphic design, did computer related work. So I kind of was trying to poke a bunch of them because they're all gamers too. And it's like, hey, I know some of you guys teach and tutor C+. So you want to make a video game together? Hey. And I got a couple of those folks interested. And then one coworker of mine actively was like, I want to get into game dev too. So I'm super down to help. And like the day after I got him to be like, yes, 100%, I'm in. I'll start looking up some stuff. He messages me going, hey, man, so I had an interview at Way Forward and I got the job. And it's like, well, that's great for you. Wow. Awesome. Congratulations. You have fun. Single tear down the cheek. Like, I'm proud of you, buddy. Damn it. Now I'm back to square one. So
it's got to be hard when you are making a game that's like a passion project like this and you kind of don't have that backing. Because like, you know, there's like the people who, you know, have a love for fighting games or game development who want to make games. But then there's also the reality of I've got rent to pay and I've got, you know, so it's kind of this difficult. Yeah. How's that been like balancing that for you?
I definitely would say that like my personal experience has been it's been a little bit of both worlds in sense of like I've had to scramble and do a lot of like, okay, this is all I can handle, afford, or manage time, effort, and capital wise. I was also very lucky. I had a buddy of mine who he's been around with me since like before the idea of actually making Burning Souls. So he watched me go through this whole process of creating all these characters. I made like a character for him during that era where I was doing these as commissions. He's watched the passion and all the drive of me wanting to make this. And he's like, okay, I have money that I can put down because I know how bad you want this. So here's a large sum of money. And the real deal is you can't just up and bail on this. You have to give it the real proper endeavored try. And that's pretty much the only big string attached. So I had money to pay people at least to do like animations and like concept and stage art. And that helped a lot. That got me very far in terms of like the actual development stuff, because I was able to pay friends to do background art. I was able to pay friends and other people that I'd met through online channels to do rough animation work. And so like a lot of the animation that's currently in the project is from people that I was able to pay, thankfully. So I'm really grateful for all of that, because I definitely wouldn't be able to do it on my own. I'm not an animator by trade. So that part was nice. And especially because the silver lining of quarantine is, well, we're all stuck at home doing nothing. So I guess I can make a video game because I'm not going anywhere. And I have the money to pay other people who are not going anywhere. So like, hey, you person who likes to animate and is into fighting games, can I give you money to make fighting game characters come to life?
This is the third interview
Yeah, the
where
third
somebody
interview.
has said the exact same thing about COVID.
Yeah,
It's
COVID.
really funny how it just
Yeah.
is a constant on this show.
My quarantine project was, hey, it's time to make a video game real.
I wanted to bring it to animation there because that was something from playing the demo that actually stood out to me. Even in like the early state that Burning Souls is with its demo and stuff like that, and it's still like gray box, I guess. Well, not gray box, but like how you say, like sketch work and like concept in a way.
There's still a lot of rough keyframes, rough animations going on.
Yeah, but it's still like you can. It actually, I think, being in that state helped me appreciate it a lot more than it would if it was just a finished one. Where I guess like the beauty of animation, and this is the same for like a lot of VFX and things like that. When it's done well, it's barely noticeable how much work has probably gone into it because it's so seamless. So it's like, because you have assets at at various stages in the demo, you can see the ones earlier that like you're like, oh wow, like each of these are a distinct drawn thing. They have to flow into each other, and there's like, you know, hundreds and hundreds of different like pieces of art that are like coming together. And so you're an artist. You've been an artist by trade. And you said that you've got other people to do animation. Have you done a bit of it yourself as well? Has there been like a learning curve for you there?
Oh yeah. So very early on, I was trying to just teach myself how to animate. Like I was going to school, and some of my focuses were like next to the actual animation process. Like I did storyboarding. So I did have to understand the concepts of like movement and animation. So I tried to just like trial by fire learn it. And it's just like, okay, well, I understand follow through. I understand anticipation. So a lot of like assets that are in the demo are stuff that I animated myself. And then I would say the stuff that is much smoother looking is the stuff that I have paid people to do. But like there's a handful of different people who have all contributed. So I think it's really cool because like you said, you get to see all these different stages. And a lot of my work would be like, okay, here's a couple keyframes where I know that I want the silhouette to look this way. I want it to read this way. I want it to have this type of weight. And then I'm kind of sitting there taking photos of myself or standing in a mirror and being like, okay, what's the process? What's the follow through look like to get to A to B to C? And then sometimes it's, okay, I'll do start, middle, end, and just draw those 3 frames. And then occasionally be like, okay, well, if I want to make this look nicer, what does the middle between start and middle look like? What does the middle between middle and end look like? And slowly kind of sculpt it out and get there. That's been a really, really fun process because I'm trying so hard to fight my instincts as a character designer to be like, okay, I'm just going to draw this full piece. I'm going to do this full illustration. It's like, no, you just need to worry about the silhouette. It just needs to be readable. It needs to feel good and feel natural to the best degree it can be. And I think that's like the one thing that I've always appreciated hearing back as feedback when people play it is that like when they see characters doing stuff, they can feel the way there's the pop-offs where they're like, oh shit, it's that move. Oh, that's so cool. They can do this. And they see it and it feels right for them. And like, that's the big cherry on top for me is like, okay, I'm glad the idea I had came immediately to mind when you saw it.
It's true too, because I saw it firsthand. People like when we were at MagFest, like and you were letting people play. A lot of the people who were like super into fighting games, they'd play it and just point at the screen and oh, that's it, that's this character's thing. And then it was like the excitement was so fucking real. It was awesome to see.
It's so good. It makes me really happy. And it like I've tried very hard to not reveal my entire hand in terms of what I'm up to.
Sure.
I've had many a talk with other people, and the one that sticks to the most is talking to Wooly about a lot of this stuff, and it's the whole just like, you know, don't just show everybody and rob yourself of the satisfaction of a finished product, and like keep things to your chest, because that pressure of I'm really excited for people to see this when it's ready will keep you going. And I've also watched like all of the Sakurai How to Make Games channel stuff, and I love that channel. You know, if you haven't seen it, I highly recommend watching all of it. And the best thing for me from watching that channel would be as I've gone through this, you know, journey of development, I'll see something in that video, and either A, it'll be, oh, that's a really smart way to think about this. This is helping me get past a roadblock I've hit. or it'll be something that I've already done and it reaffirms that my mindset is in the right direction.
What was the what is like kind of the things that you're trying to achieve with Burning Souls? Like what have you, so you're obviously clearly like a huge fighting game fan. What have you with because like there's obviously a lot of fighting games out there. What is like the thing that you're trying to bring to the genre?
The thing that I'm trying to bring to the genre very specifically is I love Marvel 2. That's probably like the most infamous thing that anybody who knows me knows about me is my deep-seated love of Marvel 2 and how much I play that game, how much I try to discover all the BS and glitches and shenanigans that are in that game, and just how interesting it is as a whole. Because Marvel is just like, okay, here's a roster of gods to dumpster babies, and like these characters are terrible, but they're so fun. And if you find the right synergy, you can take Surfbot and make them the most unstoppable creature on the planet with the right synergy and the right player. And I don't feel like we've had fighting games like that in a while. And part of that obviously is that Marvel 2 is an unbalanced mess and every character was dropped in with no considerations.
Oh boy. Yeah.
So there's that part, but even still, just the fact that it has such a large roster, that aids to the possibilities. The other thing that I like is that Marvel 2 doesn't really have any other contemporaries so close to it. And I really just want to make a Marvel 2 that I know I would want to play. It's, if you play the demo, the Burning Souls' button input is like Marvel 2's. You have light, heavy, assist 1, assist 2. And if you press a light attack button, like light punch twice, it becomes light medium. So I'm doing that very intentionally to elicit the Marvel 2 vibe. You've got team hyper combos, you've got delayed hyper combos. And like, I want to introduce an entry of fighting games that very much wears its love of Marvel 2 on its sleeve while also being just a general homage to the fighting game genre.
Just to reiterate on something, because I know you said earlier that you do not do programming, you don't know programming.
Yeah.
I'm not 100% sure because I don't make games, but Game Maker has its own. Does Game Maker have its own like easier to understand
visual
language
coding?
Or visual coding?
It does. So I'm not using that tool specifically,
gotcha.
but it does have stuff. So the thing that I learned about Game Maker down the road was you can work inside of it in two manners. So one is called drag and drop mode or D&D mode, and essentially it's modules.
Yes.
So you can make a game by just being like, hey, I need physics. Hey, I need detection of collision. I need this functionality. So you have this really cool visual map that you get to create of like a flow chart essentially. It's
like node.
Yeah, very
Is
node
it called node coding? I can't remember.
I wish I could
I
answer
think
that question in confidence.
We have no idea.
I don't know.
But yeah.
But yeah, so you can build a game like that, and that's really cool. Or you can just build it with, all right, I created a script, I'm typing a bunch of if statements, here's a while statement, here's a for loop.
Like straight up
straight
up
code.
C++.
Yeah. And then
Okay.
The other thing is that Game Maker says that it has its own Game Maker language, quote unquote. And it's basically rooted in C, but there are a number of like built-in variables. So I can be like image index and runtime speed and this and that. And they're all just built in for the sake of how Game Maker itself wants to operate. So that makes it pretty easy because then I don't have to like create a bunch of stuff on the fly. There's just built-in functionality. Like I can control an object's like active speed of movement and set a direction for it. And it'll go through there using those pre-built variables. And I can just say like direction equals this, speed equals that. And now my object moves in a correct direction based on those numbers. So that helps a ton because I don't have to sit there and kind of craft and BS my way through like, I need the guy to move, but jump at an arc, but do the, oh God. So
Billy was telling me that at MagFest, there was like, he was explaining to me an example of where you had feedback and then you kind of iterated on it almost immediately.
Ed, it was really funny. Ed told you, is there a random button? And you said, oh no, but and then you explained to us how you would do it.
Yeah.
And then like I saw on Twitter, like the next week you were like, so I just added a random button.
Yeah. So even better, it wasn't even a week later. It was like on the plane.
It was like,
I did it on my flight home. I took out my laptop.
Gotcha.
And I thought about it and I was like, yeah, that guy's idea was right. I should just add a random button. It would make it so much easier for me to troubleshoot, or if players don't know what they want to pick, they can just slap that. I'll just code that. And I just programmed it. And the only thing I did after the fact when I got home was like, okay, let me make a nice like random icon and let me make a nice little thing. But I was able to, I just did it on the flight home. I was like, that was a good idea. Hold on a sec. Done. All right.
My vital question around that is just how important has feedback and iteration been? Because you have a public demo at the moment, so I'm just wondering if that's how helpful that's been for you and your development process.
Also mentioning that if you want to try out the demo for yourself, we are going to be putting it in the description.
Fantastic. Yeah. So it's invaluable. I beg, clamor, claw, and scream for it every time I'm out in public with the game and showcasing it, or I'm talking about it online. The past couple Evos, I've brought like my laptop out and I've had a build and I've kind of stealth set up, and that was like my first few chances of trying to get some real feedback from people. And again, like that stuff is so helpful. Like back in 22, Evo weekend was on the anniversary of when Burning Souls development like officially started. So I wanted to put out like a trailer, and I really wanted to be like, hey guys, if you're at Evo, come find me. I'm going to set up in the BYOB section, our BYOC console, not beer. But I had set up my stuff and I was like, hey, please come play it. I would love feedback. I wasn't able to be a part of the indie showcase. I tried, but it just didn't pan out. I had people play it, and one of the big pieces of feedback I had gotten back was like the speed of the game. Like the feel of like attacks and things felt fine, but everyone's like, if this is supposed to be Marvel 2, it's kind of slow, and Marvel 2 is insane. So it needs that adjustment. And then at the end of that weekend, as I was finishing up the trailer and watching it, I was like, yeah, it is slow. I see it now. Now that someone said something, I make it such a huge point to try to get people's feedback, because I spend days, hours, weeks, months staring at this, testing it, trying out stuff in lab and whatever. And now I'm kind of numb to the way the game runs and functions. So I make an adjustment, or I see somebody else have their experience with it, and now I get to see it through a new lens. And if everybody is also echoing similar sentiments, it lets me know that that's a real problem and not somebody's preference. Like Evo 23, the biggest feedback that I had gotten from everybody was, as soon as I start hitting a character and I start doing my combos, feels amazing. Love this. This is what you wanted. You're getting it. But when I'm in neutral and I'm moving around and engaging, it still feels a little slow in terms of like movement speed. And every person who touched it that weekend said the same thing. And it's like, cool. Then that to me sounds like a real thing I should look at and adjust. And sure enough, it helped. And I bring it to like my locals every month, and I'll get like 4 or 5 different people will check it out. Every once in a while, it'll somebody who hasn't seen it yet going, whoa, what is this? And it's like, I'm making a game. Please, for the love of it, sit down, play it. I have 2 sticks. Go.
It's honestly, you could not get better feedback for fighting games than going to Evo or going to your locals. Because oh my god, fighting game players are ravenous.
They are. They're
ravenous for new games. They're hungry, and they wanna tell you everything you're doing right or wrong.
Yep. The biggest trouble that I actually have is online feedback. I have an itch page where the demo can be downloaded, and I shout to the heavens every time. If you download the game, there's comment sections on the itch page. Please tell me what you think of it. Please give me your feedback. Let me know if you liked it. Share your combos, anything. I'll take it all. And it's just like tumbleweeds rolling through the town on a dusty afternoon. And I'm like, okay. And so I'm grateful that I get to have like in-person feedback. I would love to see, because I see the metrics of people who've downloaded it. So I know how many times it's been downloaded, and it's just like, well, now if only these people would say something. And it is what it is. You know, it's life. Some people are just like, they'll play a thing and like, okay, cool. And then they go about their business. So, nothing against anybody who hasn't said anything yet. But that's the thing I'm hungry for, is people who I know are online, people who I don't know and don't have any like level of connectivity. They just seen this thing online. And it's like, yeah, you, that person, please tell me what you think. I want your opinion. I want this game to be something that you actually want to come back and play.
There's I think there's something to that as well. Like, I imagine a lot of people online downloading it are just downloading it on their PCs. Yeah. And then, it's obviously the game is in an early state and it doesn't have CPU yet. So like I'm sure there's a lot of people who are just like, oh man, where's my friend? I don't I need someone to bid it up with me.
How do I sneak a copy of Parsec in there and just be like, hey, so you get to install this? that's like my big goal for this year. I'm gonna try. Best of luck to myself is to get online play functional.
Oh,
We'll
wow.
see. That's a massive endeavor.
Wow.
Yeah,
It's a
that's a
massive
daunting
endeavor.
task.
But I realize in the state that I released this game and I'm trying to get people to just check it out, that's a huge barrier that needs to be overcome. So that's the goal. And I'm going to do my best to try to integrate it. And I've been told by all of my contemporaries and other indie fighting game dev people that like, hey man, good luck, because implementing netcode after the fact that you've built the thing is a nightmare.
Yeah.
So we will see.
How has that been researching for that and looking into like netcode and like obviously I imagine you'd be looking at peer-to-peer stuff.
Yeah,
Is it being
exactly.
like a whole new world, like kind of like, oh no.
Oh yeah. So it definitely is. It's so daunting and scary, but it must be done. One of the things that's nice about Game Maker, one of the devs who worked on, I believe they worked on Rivals of Aether, they created their own platform fighter engine, and that has its own custom built netcode, and it has rollback. And back in like 2021 or so, they put it out with license, and basically the license was, as long as you put my logo or credit the engine in like the start screen of your game, you may use my code as needed and build your own stuff with it. And you can even just like take the segment that you saw that was nice and put it in your own project. You don't have to just build your game in the engine.
That's huge.
Oh yeah. So I bought that license, and then I recently found out the price of that license has gone up a lot. And I'm glad I bought it early. But they also released just the rollback element of that platform engine. So you can pay like a much more lower barrier entry fee to get just the rollback netcode part of it and then plug that into your own project. So
and God knows that for fighting games,
it's the most
rollback
important.
Is so fucking important.
I think it's been
my
like
God.
the biggest development in fighting games in recent history that has like
Right.
kind of
Oh,
changed
boy.
it completely.
Yeah. I'm able to play. I mean, we're able.
Yeah,
You and me are able to play Tekken with no issues.
Right?
Yeah, I
That's
live in New
fucking
Zealand
insane.
and like it's
magical.
yeah, it is. It is
It's
insane.
crazy.
As a dude who plays Skullgirls competitively, I'm just sitting here kind of just like twiddling my thumbs, being like, any day now, any day, someone else will notice this. Maybe. So I'm glad. I'm very happy that so many games are getting
Yeah.
rollback, and you know, shout outs to so many other communities that finally get to play a match online and they don't have to
Yes.
see the number 17 up in the top corner and then panic about their combo.
I never want to go back to Xbox 360 Tekken 6.
Uh,
Oh my God.
Marvel 3 on the Xbox had me with high blood pressure, I'll tell you.
Oh, Marvel 3 is so bad too.
It's
I
rough.
just remembered. Even on PC, it's so gross.
It's pain.
Oh,
I love that game so much, and I can't play it. I can't play it online with my friends
Dude,
because I will lose
I
my
know
mind.
Parsec is the best way to play online.
Yeah.
The fucking like Parsec is better than the actual netcode in the game.
It's rough. Or like
It's so sad.
when Grand Blue Versus first dropped, one of my buddies in chat, she was like, "Hey, do you wanna try out Grand Blue? We could play on Parsec." And I'm like, "You mean the only way to play? It's the
Yeah.
only way to play that game." Because, but now in the wonderful year, current 2023-2024, rollback everywhere, so all games are playable. Get out there, experience new stuff.
How does it feel making a fighting game in the current like climate? Because it's quite a bit different than how it used to be. I feel like fighting games
Yes.
have started reaching a much broader
renaissance.
audience
Oh.
and have been way more successful recently as well.
Yes, it feels like everybody's been trying out. Like, I mean, shoot, Street Fighter 6.
God.
One of the biggest fighting game launches of all time. Tekken 8, another gigantic fucking launch.
Oh yeah. It's kind of crazy. So it is daunting because it's everybody's doing it. And then as I put more and more effort into making an indie game, I'm discovering that there are so many people who are also doing the same. And one of the things I'm very grateful for being a part of is there's an FGC developers group on Discord that I'm in, and that's been so invaluable. There's so many different people working on different types of projects, so you're getting all these different perspectives. But I'm seeing so many people making different games. But the other thing that's really cool is everybody's making something that's different. And while there's little splashes of familiarity, it still feels like everybody's game is bringing something unique to the table. And that I think also helps a lot with like not being so stressed about there being a million games to play. And it's just like, I will find my market. I will find the people who want the thing, and I will provide them what they want.
And also, it seems like it's a good like tight knit community where everybody's helping each other out.
It's so good. I love it. I love being
Always
in there,
good.
seeing people doing their art, their programming, 2D stuff, 3D stuff. Some people are just like, I had a crazy idea the other day while I was at the grocery store. Here's what I thought. And it's just like, okay, cool. I like Grocery Fighter. That sounds fun. Let's go.
Has that been
rocks.
a good resource that you can lean on, like having that kind of community that where it's not like competitive in the way that you would think it might be, considering you're all like in the same field. It's more communal and like helpful, I guess.
Oh yeah, it's so great. I wanted to make sure that I shouted them out at some point because it's been so helpful. Sometimes it's just like, here's something I'm working on. Here's an idea. What do you guys think? Let me soundboard it here. Let me, run it through. And like the community is really super supportive. Like last year, they did this really cool thing on Steam where they did an indie fighting game fest. So they got like a proper Steam approved event where if you had a demo, you had a wishlist page or whatever, Steam actually highlighted those things. So lots of these indie devs,
so rad.
yeah, they got a spotlight that they really deserved, and people could wishlist games, people could try demos that were online. If it wasn't initially on Steam, there were other ways to promote stuff. So if you had an itch page, if you had something else, if you had a trailer, you could do that. So there are a lot of games that got some really good push, and that was super, super cool. And at the time, I didn't have as much work done, and so I wasn't able to participate. But I'm waiting for the next one, because now I actually can hey guys, here you go. I can play now and be a part of this. So a lot of people got to experience a lot of cool indie projects because of it.
So you said that you're working on the online component, obviously, but what else have you got? What other things are you brewing for Burning Souls?
Gosh. So the grand majority of everything that I've been working on has been character related. So because this is my Marvel 2 project, the roster is not as big as Marvel, but it's still very sizable. So my ideal dream roster is 30 characters.
Oh my god!
Oh my
Hefty
god!
number. Yes, exactly. That's everyone's reaction. Everyone's reaction always is that.
I get it though, because I mean, shoot, you got 2 assists.
It's a 3v3 tag fighter. Yeah,
it's a 3v3. You need a lot of characters.
You need the diversity,
something like that.
Exactly. So
yes.
I've also had many discussions about what if you get picked up by a studio? What if someone wants to publish? What if somebody wants to help and then you have to get restricted? And I've already been like, okay, I can pare it down to X number. I can pare it down to this, and then I have my bottom line. It will be no less than this. No arguments. End of story. Or I walk. So I've had a lot of time to think about those things. And then the other thing, as I've learned programming, especially inside Game Maker, is that I've spent a lot of time doing proof of concepts using pre-existing assets. And one of my favorite development tricks is kind of lifted off of old Capcom games. So Third Strike, Marvel vs. Capcom 1, Marvel 2, there are lots of characters who have supers where it's we didn't make new animations for the super. We just kit bashed half their moveset into a thing and called it a super. So that's really, really helpful. So I have at present, the build that's playable to everyone has 3 characters. The build that I take around to events has 6 characters in it. There's a 7th character that's not selectable for everybody. And inside that character, I want to say there's at least 7 or 8 other movesets hiding inside them, programming wise. So it allows me to test out mechanics, right? So there's a character eventually who will have flight mechanics. There's a character who can do run stops. There's a character who has Iron Fist style buffs where they can be I increase my offense. I increase my hit stun. I increase my meter gain. I've had the ability when I'm in lulls of if I'm waiting for animations to get turned in and I can't program anything, I can play around with other animations and frames that I've already got and be okay, this is kind of going to fit what I want. Let me program this so coding wise and functionality wise, it does the thing I need, and I can just test it out and see how it looks. And sometimes I'll make my own little faceless figure people, and be okay, I can just slap this in and test out this cool mechanic. The other thing that Game Maker has is they have asset bundles every month, which are super great. So sometimes I'll get asset bundles where it's oh, that would be great for a projectile, or I could use this to be my placeholder. And like I've been able to program and functionally try out at least half of my roster. So that's the thing that I do a lot is when as soon as I'm like not able to work on something that's actively productive, I can sit there and be like, time to theory craft. Let's see how this character is going to play out. And that's probably like my favorite part is because eventually I'll get to that point where animation work has to happen. And I just have to worry about that. I don't have to think about, I have to animate this and I have to program it and I have to design it and I have to make sure it works. I can just, in my downtime, make the mechanic work and then just put the true assets onto it.
You kind of touched on it before when you were talking about like if you like a publisher picks you up and stuff like that. What are your kind of aims for Burning Souls? Like what do you see, where do you see this game like going? Do you want that? Is that like something you're actively thinking about? Like, man, if I could get like some backing, then I could like hire a bunch of people kind of thing.
Oh, from day one. Like as soon as I took this project seriously, that was like one of the first things that I kept considering very seriously. Like I have another buddy of mine from college who works in the industry, and I was able to soundboard off of him a lot. And he helped me get the basics of building like a vertical slice. So what Burning Souls is currently is essentially in that direction. And I'm trying to make sure that it's in a place that when the opportunity comes where someone says, hey, I work at blank, we would love to check this out or learn more about it, I can sit there in confidence and go, cool, here's what it is, here's its goals, here's what it does, here's the things that are cool, there it is, I'm ready.
Basically just have the full prototype to show off, like, look at all this stuff you can do.
So the game has been built and developed with that in mind early on, is being able to say, all right, it's showtime, here we go. And then if I can get that type of support, I know exactly what I want. I know where a chunk of that money is going to go. I'm sure will be new challenges to take on that I'll have to start considering. But I at least have like a good head on my shoulders and the right direction of there's official works, and I want to see the game be released in an official capacity. I would love to be able to put that thing on Steam. I would love to be able to go to an event and someone at the event is like, yes, we've got Burning Souls brackets happening over at Station 5. Like, I want to see that happen. I want to see people play it. I would love to see a grand final someday.
Yeah, that is like the dream.
I have some stuff in the game that's very like built for those moments where it's just like, oh, I can't. It's going to be so hyped to see this get landed in a match. God.
Yeah.
So obviously you've got the Marvel 2 inspiration, and that's what you're kind of trying to bring back in the vibe. How do you like... other than like obviously the tag and stuff like that, sorry, I'm not very like I'm not a fighting games expert,
no worries,
by any means, but how do you stick out, and how do you like, you know, differentiate yourself from like obviously this burgeoning market of fighting games?
So the thing that I'm trying to do to not just get caught up in just, you know, imitation is a serious form of flattery, and having something that's unique to myself is like, again, I've been playing so many fighting games, so I've kind of seen a lot of what everybody is doing, what people like, what people don't like. And a big thing that I always have to keep in mind is I want to homage stuff. I love to have people go, oh shit, it's that. But at the same time, you know, I want to create something where it's just like, oh, I didn't think about that. That's a really cool mechanic. Like one of the big standout things for Burning Souls is that the game is supposed to reward you for being quote unquote suboptimal. And I know that as soon as I say that to anybody, they're always very divisive on that idea, because fighting games and competitiveness, why be suboptimal? But if you do longer combos, you get bigger meter gain. So there's a reward for being flashy, is that you now have more resources to play with.
Oh, yeah.
And then every character in the game has a level 5 super that basically does a really cool thing. It does a bunch of damage, but it's also mechanically unique and interesting. I like to kind of compare it a little bit to like Instinct from KI and like Guilty Gear instant kills, but they don't end the match. But like activating this move and landing it is like adding 2 extra cards to your hand as you continue playing. So now you get to expand this character in a new way and add new elements. So you're playing the game. You want to get that level 5, but also you're building all this meter, so there's never a means or a reason to be like hoarding your resources. You don't have to sit there and hide your meter from the opponent. You can cash out whenever you want, because you're going to build that stuff back.
How did all these design elements come together? Like, did you have like a big brainstorming session at the start where you're like, okay, I'm laying it all out. This is how I want the game to be. This is the kind of move sets and stuff I want to do. And this is the kind of main mechanics. These are the, like, as people, gimmicks of the game.
A lot of the gimmicks and mechanic ideas were built very early on. So the ideas about resources and meter gain and stuff like that and being flashy and stylish were from the ground up. The level 5 super idea was also from the ground up. Originally, when I had done the like manual and the fake game case at Evo, everybody's level 5 super is called a max soul burst. And a bunch of people were like, okay, that kind of sounds OD though. That sounds sick. I don't know what that is, but I want to find out. So the idea of everyone's level 5 being the big, I gotta land this on the set to make it count type move was like a big element, because I want people to watch that and you want to see a cool thing happen. And then some other mechanics kind of evolved as the game was developed, and I was like doing my research. I was playing other games and seeing what was good and what wasn't. Burning Souls has a burst mechanic, and it's kind of shades between Skullgirls and Guilty Gear in the way that it works, but it also has its own set of rules that it plays to, so that it's not just a carbon copy. It's just a concept that has its own identity to it. While it still does a lot of Marvel 2 stuff, you got your tags, you have snap outs, you have team combos and assists. There's still a number of elements. This game is doing something on its own terms, and hopefully people see that and go, okay, I see why people want to play this, because it's doing its own thing.
Maguma, if you've got anything you want to just like shout out and say just to close this out.
If you guys like what you heard, please check out Burning Souls. Burning-souls.com is the website. There's a link to the itch page. I know it's going to be in the description as well to download it. Please play it. Please leave your feedback. If you guys are interested in supporting this project, I have a Ko-fi page where all those proceeds go directly into paying artists, musicians, and animators. So you want to support artists in a time where people want to be supported? Here's a way to do it. You can follow it on Twitter X at burning__souls. And then I also like to post a lot of like short little clips and snippets of my progress on my Twitter, which is just Maguma Usagi. Please check it out.
Oh, wasn't that a great interview that we just listened to? Right, guys?
You guys interviewed Jean-Marie Picard? That's crazy.
Crazy. All right, we've got a special game that we're talking about for this episode.
It's honestly, it is very, very special.
We got a new special guest. Can you bring Itsuno out, please?
I would piss
Behind the
myself
curtain.
and scream. Imagine that. we were talking about Dragon's Dogma. One thing we have to mention before we get into actually talking about Dragon's Dogma is that we all got early copies. Thank you, Capcom. And also, Rad did go to press events and has an official pawn in the game. So he does have his little character in the game that you can summon as one of your party members, and it is an official Capcom
What's
thing.
your pawn's name, Red? I haven't seen it.
It's literally SuperRAD.
It's just SuperRAD.
Can we talk
okay.
about? I just want to say on the official pawn topic.
Yes.
Really cool that they did that. I love it. Thank you so much. I saw so many people that were like mad at the concept, and like it was at a point where I couldn't just like tell people. I was like, you can you won't even see these official pawns. It's in a menu
You have to go out of your way to see
Yeah.
official pawns.
And like so many people were like, oh, like it's so stupid that they did this. I never want to see these people. It's like, listen, you don't have to. You don't have to see them. They're not there.
It's so funny that you mention a feature that you don't have to see and you
Yeah,
have to go out of your way to
Oh
spot.
my!
I was about to say we should probably clear the air. There's been a lot of discourse about the microtransactions in this game, which there are microtransactions in this game. A lot of people I've seen online, less so now as people have actually got to play the game, but definitely on
and
launch.
realize that there have been lies that have been said online.
I would like to request to take over this segment by opening with this sentence. If any of you fucking morons that are complaining about these things glazed Arrowhead and Helldivers for their microtransactions and Battle Pass, now you're pissed about this, you are dumb as rocks and don't deserve oxygen. I swear
Minecraft.
to God.
In a video game. You don't deserve oxygen in Minecraft.
So here's the thing with Dragon's Dogma's microtransactions. Ever since Dragon's Dogma 1, and even before that, Capcom has always
it's been 12 years at least.
Capcom has always been a little bit Hitlerian when it comes to DLC. Like, I think they're really like big fucked up practice that started this whole like reputation that they have was probably Street Fighter 4's on disc DLC, where like the game came out and there was like the first, they weren't called seasons, but the first couple characters were on the disc.
Yeah.
And Capcom has always been like pushing that shit. Like even Dragon's Dogma 1, you could buy Rift Crystals. It was the same shit.
The big thing about this is that, like, as far as I'm aware, I think we're all in agreement, like nobody likes microtransactions.
No, obviously not.
No one is in favor of them.
That's why I wanted to say. These are clearly
they're useless. They're stupid.
I would say they also don't. Weren't the game wasn't designed with microtransactions in mind.
They will ruin your playthrough.
They won't ruin your playthrough. That's the thing. They won't ruin your playthrough because they're limited.
So useless.
There's single buy. You cannot in your entire run of Dragon's Dogma 2, you can get 10 port crystals.
Yeah.
If you buy the port crystal DLC, you can get 11.
Yeah.
That's it.
Forever.
Even if you get the DLC, it won't ruin the balance. You can only get 5 extra fairy stones. You can only get 1 extra port crystal.
Wait, Ed, you can only put, even if you got 11 port crystals, you can only have 10 on the map.
Exactly.
That's true.
Even the DLC doesn't break the fucking balance. And here's the other thing. The only way you can find out that this DLC even exists is if you completely close the game. There is no
not a
prompt,
single mention.
There is no prompt in game to access the store. And this was the case in Dragon's Dogma 1. In Dragon's Dogma 1, there was a fucking button right in the main menu that was do you want to get Rift Crystals?
Wait.
It's actually worse in Devil May Cry 5 and
No.
Correct.
Wait. There's an in-game way to go to the store. I know there is.
Is there?
Is there?
Yeah, I don't exactly remember where it is, but it is there.
I don't think so.
I swear to God.
If you're right, I finished the game. I'm on New Game Plus.
Yeah.
I have not seen it.
I'm just saying for like transparency, like it's hard to find, I guess, but I do remember seeing it.
But the point still stands. It's so fucking it's so unintrusive that I finished the game and I'm on my second playthrough midway and I still haven't found any mention of it.
Yeah, like if we're gonna quickly talk about the MTX, I just want to say like the big issue with what we all take issue with is that the misinformation and the lies and stuff like that. And
yes,
what I find really annoying is like for a lot of us when we're speaking up about that's what we're talking about, and then a lot of people will move the goalposts and talk about how it's like uber predatory or something like that, or they call you shills, and it's predatory.
It is predatory. I mean,
MTX is predatory.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
That's what I was going to say. It's designed, like, it's clearly designed in a way that, it's for people who haven't played the game and don't understand how these systems work to be like, oh shit, I need to. And this misinformation actually adds to that because now people are going to think like, oh, I have to pay for fast travel.
I had a conversation with somebody in one of my IRL groups where we were talking about the game and I had played the game, I had beaten it, and the game came out, and then we were talking about it, and they were like, well, the game design was compromised because they're selling these microtransactions. And it's like, no, but I understand why you would believe that.
No, and I haven't had like a direct talk with people related to the concept about it, but I do know that there is I can rather infer that there is like, you're gonna have like these suits that want it in just for the sake of it, and then you have the developers are forced to kind of put it in, but they make it so useless because they don't want to compromise the
and
game.
it's also limited. Like no developer genuinely wants to put microtransactions. If we lived in a perfect world, nobody would want to do that. We would just want to be paid to make cool games and be done with it and move on to another cool project. But it's always the suits, and it's always going to... They want a return on investment, because what if the game fails? Well, then we can get whales.
I'm sure they make money on it. I just found it really funny. Like, all I found was... This is just like an observation. I'm not making a point here. I remember like a week before the game came out, everyone was like sucking Capcom's dick about how they were like paying all of their employees really well.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's great. And that's so good. But then we get like this one issue, and then like everybody wants Capcom to fucking die.
It's a boycott.
Yeah.
People are literally boycotting the game now because of this. And it's...
I mean, they're not. It's the third most biggest Capcom launch of all time.
It's Twitter chirpers. But like, I just wanted to cap this off so we can start talking about the actual game. But my advice to anyone who's like looking at this and like it's like, oh, I don't know if I want to get Dragon's Dogma, just completely ignore the DLC. You do not interact with it like at all. You don't need to. It's not there to be interacted with. The same way people did with Resident Evil 4 Remake, which has the exact same kind of thing.
Devil May Cry,
or Devil May Cry, or any Capcom game.
They're all the same.
But they're all the same. But people love Resident Evil 4 Remake because it rightfully so. It's a fantastic game that you should play. But there's like, I'm looking at the DLC page now. It's 183 New Zealand dollars to buy all of the DLC. It has like it's like 7 different types of weapon exclusive upgrade kits and like different charms.
Technically, just for like transparency, I think the DLC for RE4 came out after release.
It did come out.
Yeah.
It did.
Did it? Okay.
It was a week after release.
But it's still ass, and like
that's why
bad.
the reviews aren't abysmal.
And also, one thing I do want to mention as well is there's one misinformation that drives me up the fucking walls, and it's that early copies and reviewers and creators like us were lied to by Capcom about DLC in the game. That is not true. We had a full list.
Or they knew and didn't,
and we didn't
disclose it.
And
Here's
we didn't
what
disclose
happened.
it.
I'm gonna tell you what happened.
We did get a full list. Like, that was one of the first things. And it's not one of those like, oh, we'll send you the list, but it's hidden. No. It is in bold red characters right next to your review key. It says, here's the list of DLC that comes with the game at launch. You will not be able to purchase it because you're early, but this will be at launch.
Yep.
The reason why we didn't mention it...
Because you didn't give a fuck.
Because the thing is, it's been happening with every single Capcom game. So why would we bring it up? Because we're at the point where we assume that people won't give a fuck. But people gave a fuck.
I think one thing is like people see the silence as like complicity, and like that's not what it is. It's just like we're so tired of it, just like you guys are tired of it.
There's just nothing to say. What is the point of saying that every new Capcom release has microtransactions?
Awful deals. Like
it's literally always there.
The thing that would get me most incensed is not this lazy ass MTX that nobody should feel like they need to buy. Like that's just like someone's checking off a box at Capcom. What really gets me incensed is when Street Fighter adds fucking only avatar-only costumes to their game for collaborations, and it's $15 fucking dollars.
People should be mad at that, not fucking Dragon's Dogma. Dragon's Dogma is probably the most insane full package of a game I've played in a decade.
And let's talk about that instead of these stupid fucking microtransactions.
Yeah.
I want to go around the table because some of us got to play a bit early. So what's everyone's like progression like? Where are we at in terms of how much we've played? I'll start with you, Ed.
I finished the game. I have, I think, 80 hours. And I'm currently doing New Game Plus. I'm trying to do like a completely different guy. I went Beastrin this time, and I called him Mufasa Gaming. And then I made my pawn.
Dude, I hate Mufasa Gaming so much, dude. One of the first things I said while I was with your pawn is, I fucking hate this Mufasa Gaming motherfucker.
It's so funny.
I kept giving Billy rotten meat.
Giving me garbage. He kept giving me rotten meat, and I was like, who the fuck is this guy pre-release? Is he working with fucking...
My extremely funny gag that I did was while I was playing my first character, Guts, obviously.
No fucking way you made Guts.
I would go around
His name was Nuts.
I would go around using Billy's pawn Norbit, and I'd give like Wakestone shards or Fairy Stones or whatever. And then once I made my New Game Plus guy and changed the name, I was like, I'm gonna go incognito and just feed Billy a bunch of garbage. And rotten meat is the worst item you can give someone because it's kind of useless and it weighs a ton.
Weighs so much.
The only thing is that it can make like lantern oil.
I'm running out of lantern oil with my 12 bottles I found just by fucking going into caves.
So many. But either way.
Anyway,
yeah, so you finished the game. You're 80 hours in.
I'm 80 hours in, and I'm currently in my New Game Plus run. What was the last thing I did? I think I'm about to hit Batal. Like, okay, I'm not skipping
on your
anything.
second playthrough.
So I beat the game.
Yeah,
I'm on New Game Plus, and I am 50 hours in right now.
Yeah.
Okay. It took me about 40 hours to finish the game.
Took me 67 to finish it.
Yeah.
And Red?
You took your time a bit more, and you were able to find more stuff than I was. I on my second playthrough, I realized how many secrets I missed.
It's the Dragon's Dogma special, really. So I had to because of the official pawn thing, I wasn't allowed to play on my save file. I had to play on a review save file, which just means that I had a separate key. I still played fully. When I got that review save file, I only played up to about Batal. And I wanted to stop at that point because I was just doing an initial review at the time. And I didn't want to have to replay through all of that. Like, I didn't want to replay so far at some point. I didn't want to do a secondary playthrough if it wasn't New Game Plus. So I got probably like, I don't want to say like 20 hours in. And then I started my main playthrough. And I am probably now back at where I was in the review playthrough, but it probably took me like double or triple the time to get there because I found so much more that I missed in my first playthrough.
we're gonna get into that in a little bit. Cameron, how about you?
Yeah, I think I'm probably just before going to Batal. I'm like 16 hours in.
Getting to Batal takes a little while. It's a big moment in the game.
I've been doing a lot of stuff in the main area. I've been just going around, going back to places I've been. The exploration in that game is fucking
ridiculous.
Insane.
It's great.
This is one of the densest game maps I've ever fucking witnessed. It's because the map is not big. Like when I was end game, like going from the top of the map to the bottom of the map, like it was maybe like 20 minutes, 15 minutes. It's not that big, but it's so dense and so filled with stuff to do and see, and it's all stuff that is worth seeing. Okay, what are everybody's thoughts on the game? I want to start because for me, this has been I don't want to say surprise because I already knew I would like the game. Because I Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen, I got halfway, I said, this is not for me. This is a game that is rough around the edges to a point where I can't get into it.
You got washed.
Filtered.
I did. I mean, I did get filtered. That game is, dude, that game does everything in its power to filter you.
Yeah.
I mean, so does this one.
No, this one's way nicer, dude. It's way nicer.
This one's way nicer. This one doesn't have the bandits at the beginning of the game that like wall everybody.
Yeah, dude. Okay, Bash. The Dragon's Dogma 1 waves the fucking GameStop receipt in your face and just fucking fucks with you the whole time. Like, hey, you want to refund me, don't you, you little bitch? You want to escort this cart now?
Escort this cart?
But we got an early review copy, and I was like, I'm sure it's going to be a great time. They fixed a lot of this stuff. Like pre-release, they talked about a lot of the stuff that they were going to fix from the first game that I really hated. I finished the game. I started New Game Plus, and I think this might be my favorite game of all time.
Now you got to go and play the first one.
I don't know if I will. It just doesn't matter anymore. I need you to
Dragon's
experience
Dogma 2. No. I need you to experience. No. I need you to experience Bitter Black Isle. That's it. I want you to experience Bitter Black Isle. It's fantastic. It's so cool, and you don't have that in the second game, so it's really cool. And I think you should.
You don't know that. You didn't even finish the game.
I'm assuming. Don't talk like that.
I didn't say anything. I'm not fucking saying anything. I'm just saying it might be in there.
You're scaring me.
Anything's possible because, dude, this game has secrets, and it huge secrets. Like the fucking on my second playthrough, I discovered entire storylines that I never would have fucking guessed.
Oh yeah,
like were in the game.
Yeah,
entire scenes with cutscenes. This game is so dense.
To me, that like kind of like draws on one of the parts that is like really stood out to me, and I love this game from what I've played so far. It's amazing, but it's made me realize how much stuff has been added to open world games that actually
Takes away.
I want to say
Yes,
reduces from the experience a lot of the times, takes away. Like the way exploration works in this game is there aren't, like, you know, in like a lot of open world games, and I keep thinking back to Rebirth just because that's what I've played recently.
Yeah, I was literally going to say Rebirth is the perfect example of this.
It's like you look at the map, you open up the map, and you see all these fucking little, you know, that's where you need to go for the content. That's where you need to go. That's where you're going to find new stuff. Everything else is just going to be either like little herbs you can pick up and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Whereas in Dragon's Dogma, there's none of that shit. There is no like map marker telling you like, oh, there's like an encampment here.
There's a secret here. Go get the secret.
You know, stuff like that. Sometimes your pawn might point out, and this is a really cool mechanic, where if a pawn has been to an area before, if it's like another player's pawn or something like that,
Or your pawn that's gone to a different
We should
world.
explain what a pawn is.
yeah, which is a pawn is an NPC that you create, that's basically part of your party and follower, and they can be from other players' worlds, and basically all of their experiences will be
It's the
remembered
online
by the
feature.
AI. And
Yeah.
so if you walk past the place and their pawn or your pawn has gone to another world and experienced something, they will then come to your world and point out the thing like, oh, there's a treasure chest over here. Or,
Arisen.
Oh, Arisen.
I
There's
know
like
a treasure over there.
Exactly.
Arisen, you look breedable and fuckable today.
Exactly. So you can
They do
ask
say
them
that.
to...
That's in
They
the
do
game.
say that.
That is in the game.
They bend you over.
You can ask them to point it out. But other than that, there's like nothing to indicate that there's going to be something there other than using your eyes and
Yeah.
looking for like the telltale signs.
Or just your curiosity.
yeah, exactly.
And some quests have waypoints, but like not all of them. And a lot of them actually require you to do like they either require you to do the proper investigative work, or a pawn that you hire will already know about it because somebody did it with that pawn. Or even if the pawn knows about it, it's not enough, and you still need to fucking do the
You have to
investigative
deduct
work.
a lot.
Yeah.
It's rewarding. There are some side quests that you can totally miss, and they lead into game mechanics that you would never have otherwise. And the game never tells you about it. It wants you to discover it organically. And that's what's so magic about this game. This game should not fucking exist in the current gaming climate. It's so unwavering in its like design philosophies. Everything about this game is anti-modern. Or anti, like, not really.
No, I agree.
I have the word for it. I have
I'm
the word
trying
for
to
it.
figure it out. Yeah.
It's anti-yellow paint.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, it is.
it's not even...
It goes
but
beyond that. It goes beyond
Yeah.
the yellow paint.
There's so much esoteric garbage in this game. I said garbage, but like, it's fucking sick.
I think the main thing, it makes you more involved in the world because you have to engage it on its terms. Otherwise, you're like not going to make any progress, and you're not going to like. So it actually forces you to be more involved, be more, interested in like things, read items and what they do.
Oh, you
and like,
dude, you have to read.
you have to.
So I saw someone complain about the fact that dialogue didn't auto advance.
because you have to
and I was like, it does. Yeah, because you have to read it, and like they're doing that for you. Because if you do not read the dialogue, you are going to get lost.
The amount of times on PS5 where I've had to shadow play the past minute because I feel like I've missed something important is crazy.
Yeah,
this is a game that wants it pushes you to engage
It doesn't.
with it.
It's not worried about leaving you behind. It's a game that demands your respect. Otherwise, you're not going to get anywhere.
That is, yes, respect. It wants you to respect its mechanics and its world. And when you do, it rewards you a billionfold, dude. It's crazy how rewarding this game is if you pay attention.
when someone mentioned like the modernity or whatever of games in comparison to Dragon's Dogma, I feel like Itsuno got a lot of flexibility and like leeway because he is like the DMC guy. He made this game, like the one game, Dragon's Dogma, a long time ago. It was technically unfinished. but it was a cult classic, and like he always wanted to make another one. And the story goes that they gave him a choice of like, do you want to make DMC5 or do you want to make Dragon's Dogma 2? And he apparently chose DMC5. Allegedly, DMC5 was fantastic, like really amazing game.
Yeah.
And so you make that game, and then you want to make your passion project. They're not going to say no.
No. And that's one of the things, like Dragon's Dogma 2. I mean, Dragon's Dogma 1 as well. These are passion projects. And the thing is, you can see how singular the vision is throughout. Obviously, there's an entire team behind it, but this is a director that, dude, they had to reel that motherfucker in. That dude's a crackhead. Like, he's fucking, like, the shit he put in this fucking game is unbelievable. This is stuff that you see in the indie sphere, and when they do that shit in indie games, you think to yourself, that is ballsy. This will not sell. But he's doing it on a fucking AAA budget through one of the biggest fucking publishers in the world.
You can
not publishers, devs, dude.
Yeah, you can tell a game's a passion project based on how much you feel like the game wants to fuck you over, kind of.
And God, it does.
I wanted to go back to Ed's point of like the game's not afraid to leave you behind, because that kind of ties into one of the main mechanics in the game.
It wants to do that.
Yes, but the time mechanic, because this is something that's introduced very early on, and if you don't understand the entire implications of it, it might be like you might fuck up a bunch early on, which is fine.
And the best thing about that, Cameron, if you don't pay attention, you will never know that you are fucking up.
Yes.
Because timed quests that you fail the game will not tell you that you failed them.
No.
The coolest part too is that even if you do fail them, the game won't tell you, but it doesn't matter because the quest plays out completely differently, like with unique dialogue.
Yeah, failing a quest isn't necessarily like it just stops. It gives you an ending.
It just means you completed the quest differently.
I want to ask if it's okay if I spoil. It literally happens in the first 15 minutes.
Yeah, if it's like an early quest, then
it's
whatever.
the 15 minutes.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, spoiler alert, but
minor spoilers, bro.
It's 15 minutes.
Okay,
like it's
only
really
only
obvious.
Billy and Cameron got to say it, but I think this is the best game ever made.
Oh,
Rad,
yes,
what do
it
you
is the
think?
best game ever made.
It's literally my game of all time currently.
Correct.
It is my game of all time. Like, I'm not even like it's so easy to say this and being like, oh, it's fucking biased. But like, what's the thing? Like new recency bias.
Recency bias. Yeah.
Yes, sure. Like I'm probably going to feel a bit differently about it later. But I don't think it's ever going to change the fact that this game has had its hooks in me like no other game has in like an entire decade.
And like anytime like a new Monster Hunter comes out, it doesn't like. I mean, I like them, but they're not my greatest game of all time. Like this game came out.
Yeah, no, fuck no.
Well, like I'm like I make Monster Hunter content a lot, so like people are like, oh well, his favorite game would be Monster Hunter. No.
Yes, the microtransactions, they suck. Yes, the performance on PC is a problem, and the performance
on PS5 not
and
much better.
The performance on PS5 isn't great. At least it's stable, but it's not, it's not a high number.
I don't know about stable.
And if those are turnoffs for you, that's totally fair. We're not telling you to go out and buy it.
No.
But I am telling you to go out and buy it. It's fucking incredible.
People got through that stuff with Bloodborne. I feel like you can do it with Dragon's Dogma.
You can do it with
too,
Dragon's Dogma. If anything that we've said is we barely said anything.
And also the performance issues, they're going to get patched out. And the game is going to be good forever.
That's one of the first things that we were told by Capcom is that they knew about the performance issues and they are working to fix it.
Like Monster Hunter World, for example, had a fantastic launch, but I don't know if you guys remember, it was mostly negative at launch because the performance was dog shit. And guess what happened? They patched it.
And then it's the best Monster Hunter.
Yeah.
Like that's just how it is. Eventually it's gonna get patched out. So if you want to wait, but you don't be scared because of Tay discourse. This is genuinely a landmark in video games.
This is such a fucking triumph. If it wasn't for this discourse, I feel like this would be the second coming of fucking fantasy adventure games. This is such a fucking triumph.
Here's how I know it's not recency bias. Because I thought Elden Ring was dog shit while playing it in its first week. This game is what I want an Elden Ring to be.
And this game has a lot of Elden Ring in it. Or maybe Elden Ring has a lot of Dragon's
It's
Dogma.
got a lot of Dragon's Dogma in it.
Elden Ring takes from Dragon's Dogma, not the other way
It
around.
absolutely does.
Okay.
The thing that I think is most, I said this in my review, I think the thing that is most comparable between the two games, if you had to compare something, is that they both design wise,
setting.
No, they both design wise want to have shareable experiences that you can like.
they do.
We were talking about it, Ed, where you do like the fountain cooler, fucking. You know,
Water
the water cooler.
Another thing that does help with my experience with the game was that it was just Ed, Rad, and me, early copies in a Discord group, and all we did was talk about our experience of the game, and it was all completely different.
Yeah.
And that was like, I felt like a kid again.
I had to mute that.
I know.
Chat. You guys were talking too much.
It is true though. Like I don't know about you, but for me, that was like, I was on the playground talking to my homies about a video game that I was so excited about, and we were all excited about it.
You don't get that a lot anymore.
It doesn't
for sure.
happen a lot.
Within the first 15 minutes of me playing the game in front of Ed, he pointed out, he was like, I've never seen that happen before. It was like...
Okay, I keep talking about it. I want to talk about it.
Yeah,
So
go.
At the beginning of the game, you meet this NPC called Gregor and his little crew of happy little soldiers.
Love them.
And they say that they will escort you to what's the main city
Vernsworth.
called? Vernsworth.
Vernsworth.
I keep wanting to call it Vermont, but Vermont is the region. In my game, I went into this random secret cave I found because Ed's pawn said, "Arisen, I know of a cave around here." I went in there.
Thanks, Ingrid.
Fuck you, Ingrid. Ingrid sucks. We'll get to fucking Ingrid later. But I go in. Gregor dies horrifically.
Aw.
And then I run away from the cave and I'm like, where do I go? What do I do?
Oh, Billy, you should have bought the Wakestone DLC.
Yeah, what are you doing?
It would have done nothing because the first inn isn't. Oh wait, no, the first inn is in the little encampment. It doesn't matter.
Is it even a wake? Is it a wake stone or is it a wake stone shard?
It's a wake stone.
Okay,
if
well,
it's a
you know
shard,
what?
there's no way it's a shard.
Dude, it could have been.
Keep going, Billy. Keep going, Billy. Who cares?
But either way, Gregor is dead. His team is dead. All my pawns are dead. I don't even have enough RC to get new pawns. I struggle just to get to the main city. I get to the main city. The guard at the city's like at the gate. He's like, "Halt! Who the fuck are you? Do you have papers? Who are you to just waltz in and fucking claim that you're the Arisen?" And there's a prompt that like asks me to give him a paper to tell him that I am under orders to go into the city, but I don't have it. So I just exit the menu. The moment I exit the menu, I get a unique dialogue that says that they fucking throw me in jail.
They threw you in jail?
They threw me in jail, and then I get questioned by Brent, the soldier that knows that I'm the real Arisen. And then there's unique dialogue about not being with Gregor.
Oh, that's so interesting.
And his team. But the thing is, for me, I thought that was normal.
Right.
And then I tell Ed, like, "Oh yeah, I went to jail and everything." It was like, "How the fuck did you do that?" And that's what's incredible about this game. There's shit like this at every corner. This was in the first 15 minutes. The entire game is like that. That's fucking... This is a 40-hour game, at least according to how fast I beat the game, the main story. And the entire time, it's full of side stories and things you can miss. And it's not small things, it's big things. Dialogues, cutscenes. This game is so dense with things to find, and you can miss out, and it's not worried about you missing out because you're going to have your experience. Role-playing games are just not about role-playing anymore.
I would say it's also like people are afraid of
Missing out. FOMO.
FOMO, missing out of content and stuff like that. But that kind of like fear that developers have like been catering to has kind of turned a lot of these like RPG open world games into checkbox games. Like there is a map that you can open up. you look at all the points, and then you check them off the list. And it turns it into really rote work where you're not getting involved in the world. You're like, okay, I know I have to do this. There's no way to like fail it properly. It's just you do this, you get reward, and it becomes really formulaic, and to me it becomes really, really boring. I'm sure there's people out there that they get some kind of like hit out of it.
Yeah,
right?
MMO players love this shit.
Exactly. But like it doesn't generate the same stories. It doesn't generate the same like interactions you have with the game. I get an ownership of the game that I'm playing when I have these like unique experiences where I can go to someone and say, hey, this happened. And then like I was doing this quest and, this person died and like, oh, it changed the way I had to do it. Or like I made this decision. There's like a quest, like a side quest. Don't have to do it at all. Where you're giving this, I won't like spoil the outcomes for it, but there are multiple outcomes, I assume. But like you're getting this like gem at this checkpoint town, and there's this guy who comes up to you and he's like, "Yo, I lost this gem. I think someone's like stole it from me and is selling it. If you can get it back for me."
There are multiple ways that can.
He wants you to get it back for you, and he's like, "My boss is gonna kill me if I don't give it to him." And then like a few minutes later, I'm like walking around the town and his boss comes up to me and he's like, "Yo, I need this gem, man. Like my guy lost it and I've been looking for him all over. He's hiding from me. Can you get it for me?" And so like there's like, and then from there you can go and find the gem, buy it. You can choose who to give it to. You can make a counterfeit of it, and choose who the counterfeit goes to. And depending on who you give that to, I assume the quest changes.
You can make two counterfeits. You can
give them both counterfeits, keep the gem, and then sell it for yourself. Like there are so many ways that the game and it counts for all it. Like I could have just killed those guys as well. That's the other option. Like there's I can't remember what game. Baldur's Gate. So in Baldur's Gate 3, this is another, and it tackles it in a similar way. Every dialogue, like most dialogue options, there's like a little bottom in the bottom right or left where you can just attack the person you're talking to. In this game, it's kind of the same thing where all of the NPCs and stuff, you can just murder them. Like if you want to. Like I remember there's the story of people murdering a bunch of NPCs to save performance. And like
you should, I mean,
don't do that
because some people that are so innocuous might end up being somebody with a giant storyline and you are losing out.
But there's like just like so many ways to express your player's freedom and like how you want to interact with the game, what kind of role you want to play. Like, am I a murdering bastard? Do I care about this guy wanting to get out of this shady business? Or do I just want to make the most amount of money possible? Like, what are you, and it asks you these questions and it lets you decide the answer.
There's no morality system. It's not, oh, you did that thing.
There's no Paragon Renegade.
It just shows you the outcome of what you just did.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not going to tell you you're a piece of shit. You act like a piece of shit and the game's like, okay, well, you act like a piece of shit and that's what happens.
Yeah, here's the consequences of those actions.
Yeah.
Cameron, it's so funny that you brought up Baldur's Gate because that's a thing I've been comparing this game to, but for different reasons. So I love Baldur's Gate, but here's the thing. Dragon's Dogma, I wouldn't describe it as a game with like a massive scope. It's a perfect example of a narrowed scope, if this makes sense. Everything about Dragon's Dogma that works has so much care put into it, and that's the combat, the fucking all the different choices you can make, the animations. Like I don't know if you guys have noticed how fucking good the animation blending is in this game, but it
ridiculous video game,
ridiculously good. It makes the combat feel amazing, and then you start a dialogue with someone and it looks like shit. Yeah. It is the most stilted, fucking janky ass animation. The camera gets like Bethesda tier.
You cook. It's not an animation. It's just full motion video of them cooking.
The reason I love this game is because it's a perfect example of a narrowing of scope and just focusing.
It knows where to put its fucking budget.
It knows where to actually care. It's a game where like, you get Baldur's Gate where every single line is mocapped, everything is lip synced perfectly, everything is perfect high budget, and then Dragon's Dogma goes, we know you don't give a fuck. The Dragon's Dogma knows that you're not playing this for like a high fucking budget dialogue scene between you and this random guy who sits at a fountain and he's like, I need you to buy me this box. I don't need to see a fucking like, Dutch angle when I'm talking to this guy. I just need him to give me the info and give me the quest.
They give you the Dutch angle.
But yeah, no, I just want to like conclude that bit by saying that there's a reason that Capcom, and this is like, I'm going to say this as well, that there's a reason that Capcom is doing this very well, is that all the recent projects have that. Maybe not Street Fighter. Street Fighter is doing a lot.
Yeah.
But all the recent Capcom projects have such good narrowing of scope, and there's a reason that out of all the AAA fucking companies going through disgusting layoffs and all this shit, Capcom, on the other hand, has raised their starting salary by 25% and have done no layoffs. It's because their games have a budget and they know what the fuck they're doing with that money.
They don't waste time. They just don't waste time on shit that doesn't matter.
Like the funny thing is with you bringing up the food, Billy, is the interview with Itsuno where he was like, yeah, we took this test footage
shit ever.
of cooking food for like the Monster Hunter style canteen animation we were going to have. And then we just thought, why don't we just use the footage? Job done. That's it.
And it doesn't, dude. It
no
never
one
took
gives a
me out
fuck.
of the game.
makes
It
people
never
hungry.
took me out of the game. I've never been so.
People found it charming.
It's charming, and I've also we keep talking about role playing. I don't know about you guys, but I've never been disattached to a fucking like NPC that just follows me around and says dumbass shit. It is the most charming thing ever. He called me.
No, what? What inclination is that?
Calm.
Did you have you actually never seen that dialogue?
No, I don't go with all dudes.
Oh my God.
You told me about it, though.
Ingrid. Okay, this is what I wanted to tell. Ed's pawn is a fucking asshole.
Yeah. He's
His
homophobic.
first pawn was homophobic. He kept looking at my pawn, which was Eddie Murphy's Norbit, and he kept being like, have you noticed that the Arisen only hangs out with other males? What does that mean, huh? And then he winked at the camera and fucking did one of those fucking like this fucking guy emotes, you know?
What inclination did you make him, Ed?
What did you do?
Oh, I have no idea. I'd have to check my PS5. I know that I made him short and fat and bald.
There's one
Awful.
inclination for dudes in Dragon's Dogma 2 where they're just like the biggest assholes you've ever
think I
talked
did
It
to.
that
must
one.
have been that one. The thing that really pissed me off is that every time I was on a high ledge, Ingrid would be like, Arisen, I will catch you from your fall. And I'd be like, all right. And then I jumped right on top of him. And then he'd just look at me fucking fall on my face. Fuck, your pawn sucks. I hate your fucking pawn.
Anyway, get to some Patreon questions. Alex Yick eating
Yes.
a big pizza asks.
Yeah.
Wow. Awesome
In
name.
Yick's video, he mentions that some of the classes in Dragon's Dogma 1 weren't fun. Have they changed the classes much, and have they improved any returning classes?
Ed, you take it.
Let me take over on this one. So in my video I specifically put a spotlight on the warrior class because it's dog shit, feels terrible, and it's not fun. Warrior in Dragon's Dogma 2 is my favorite class
Dude,
in the
it's
game.
it's so good
sick.
now.
A lot of the moves that were unlockable later in the game in Dragon's Dogma 1 are just part of the base.
Core moveset, yeah.
Yeah.
The big thing that Dragon's Dogma 2 did, which comes back to my point about narrowing the scope, is that a lot of people were disappointed when they found out that the game only has 10 vocations when the first game had 9. The thing is, in Dragon's Dogma 2, there is no, redundancy between classes. Every single class in Dragon's Dogma 2 is completely unique. They don't have a single shared move. There's no case of like the assassin and the fighter kind of both having 50-50 of each other's moveset. There's none of that.
Sorcerer and Mage do.
Oh, I
haven't
haven't played
played
either of those classes.
They have like if you got, for example, if you got Levin as a mage and then you got high Levin,
Yeah.
and then you switch to sorcerer, even if you're on sorcerer rank 1, you would still already have high Levin unlocked.
Okay. But here's the thing. If you're worried about like fucking assassin not making it, if you're worried about ranger not making it, I promise you that kit is still in Dragon's Dogma 2. That kit is still in Dragon's Dogma 2, just relegated to a different vocation.
Some of the classes, I don't want to get into spoilers about, because I mean, it's no spoiler that you start with 4 classes. Obviously, that's not all there is. There's a fuck ton of classes. but some of the classes are some of the most unique action game move sets I've ever seen. I would have never it's stuff you would never think about.
Some of them are hard to use.
They're really,
it has a skill
some
ceiling.
Of them are like ridiculous. And even the simple stuff like the fighter or the thief, they have some shit that is like, there's some sauce in that fucking moveset, man.
I cannot believe.
And there's no reason, because the game never asks you to fucking be perfect in.
Yeah, there's no style
meter. It never asks you to be perfect in your moves. It's just there to reward the player that really wants to fucking dig deep.
Yeah, it's the warrior, for example, has a lot of stuff borrowed from Monster Hunter's Greatsword, like a ton, but it also has stuff borrowed from Monster Hunter's Sword and Shield. For example, if you guys know the perfect rush combo from Sword and Shield, they gave that to Warrior. There's a move called Gale Slash that's just this combo where every single hit, the timing on it has to be perfect, otherwise it will not work. And if you don't, and the crazy thing is, there's a risk reward to it, because if you try to do it, every time you fuck up the timing, it chunks away like 10% of your stamina.
Yeah.
It's so fucking
You also get a
cool.
Shoryuken, and that's pretty cool, I think.
You also get a Shoryuken, and every class is so unique. Only one of them can dodge.
Yes, that's actually...
All the other classes...
Only one of them can shield, right?
Only one of them can parry.
Only one of them can parry and shield.
Like, all the classes are completely
Yeah, but that
unique.
never means that you don't have any defense.
Yeah, not
like-
at all. Warrior just tackles through shit.
Mystic Spearhand has a bubble shield.
Yeah, but even then, it has better than that. It has a stagger, and that's the defensive option. Like this is such a fucking masterclass in creating different action game move sets. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, like, let's be honest. Mystic Spearhand is just Virgil. It's literally just Virgil.
Yeah.
It's the same fucking
Yeah, and
character.
it's fucking sick.
Brings to another question, which is by Kaio Treviso, who's like, thoughts on the game's combat, and if any of y'all have played through DMC5, do you think it's similar to that game? And no.
I don't think it's similar to that
but
game at all.
Not similar, but there's moves from that game.
Yeah.
You definitely feel an aspect of it for sure, just because it's an Itsuno game, I feel. But you also feel aspects of Monster Hunter in it as well.
It's way closer to Monster Hunter, in my opinion.
It's very much its own thing, though. Like, you're not going to go into it thinking you can do Monster Hunter stuff or thinking you can do Devil May Cry stuff. You're playing a different
It's
game.
not like you have... I mean, I've mostly only played Fighter, but it's not like you have branching combos out of your main movesets. It's that you have, like, a separate... You have, like, specialty moves and stuff like that you can incorporate into your, like, base swings and stuff like that.
Yeah.
There's no frame perfect move.
No.
There's a lot of leeway, especially with the parry and stuff like that.
I will say there are some frame perfect moves on Mystic Spearhand.
Are there?
What? Which ones?
The teleport, for example.
Is that one frame?
It's not. I mean,
No.
it's not one frame. I mean, Devil May Cry doesn't have one frame.
Virgil
Virgil
does. Virgil has a just frame, I'm pretty sure.
just frame
Well,
on.
there's
doesn't matter.
There's no just frame, but Mystic Spearhand does have more than one
It has a timed teleport,
time.
yes.
Yeah, but they're really strict about the timing. You have to really pay attention to. Oh my god, this is so technical. Who cares?
What's really strict is getting the blast to go out and then getting it to spread and then getting the teleport.
Yeah, I can't do that one.
Yeah, that's hard.
I've never succeeded.
I've done it once, and I felt like a god, and immediately
Got knocked
died.
off a cliff.
I actually died.
Yeah.
To answer the question, though, I don't think it's similar to Devil May Cry at all because of a big fucking factor, which is the game doesn't have lock-on. And thank fuck for that. I'm so sick of Z-targeting. I'm so sick of lock-on in action games.
That's one of the things that people, a lot of people that, because I mean, I obviously have been singing its fucking praises nonstop, and I've been recommending to a lot of people, and a lot of people were like, I kind of hate that you can't lock on, and I'm like,
don't need it.
No, you don't need it.
You forget about it. You forget about not having lock on by like after like an hour,
30 minutes.
maybe. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's
yeah, because it feels so natural.
I don't want to be the only one that doesn't feel that way, but like, I mean, I think it would have
Oh, the option
been
is
better
good.
if the option was there. I feel like the game would have, I think lock on would have been good. You can play without it and you get used to it, but I just personally felt it would have been good to have it.
Yeah, I have some issues with the camera generally. Like sometimes, like especially when you're up next to
The camera does have issues in corridors.
and corridors.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
You got
where
trees around you, you're fucked.
Dude, yeah. If you're like I remember fighting like a colossus in this like corridor like valley or whatever, and then I get pushed up against the fucking side of a wall. I see my health bar just like dropping, but all I can see is the wall. I'm like, what is going on?
No, there's absolutely problems with the camera. I'm just personally very sick of strafing. I'm very sick of games. Like, this is one of the completely, like, I'm going to say this very quickly, but it's one of the main reasons why I cannot get into the Ratchet and Clank games. It's because of the, like, complete not discrepancy, but, like, the complete polar opposites in gameplay between the walking around and platforming and the combat, which is, like, it feels like I'm playing two different games.
Well, it's a strafe combat game. It's made for strafing. But like you can have Z targeting and not strafe, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like what, for example?
Monster Hunter.
Yeah, you don't strafe in Monster Hunter.
But also I don't. I mean, the Monster Hunter like lock on camera. Nobody fucking uses that. It's kind of ass.
Well,
I use it.
You don't strafe in DMC, do you? I don't think.
No, you do strafe in DMC.
Okay.
You strafe in DMC when you lock
Yeah,
on?
I thought you run around.
Yes.
I thought you ran around as well. What the fuck?
You don't.
Bayonetta, I know for a fact, doesn't have that.
No, neither does Devil May Cry. Metal Gear Rising.
Oh, goated.
All I'm saying is, I think it's fine. It's fine that it's not there. If it was there, it would also be fine. It would just be another option for people who want it or need it.
I'd be interested to see if someone mods it in and how much that changes the game or not.
I think it would change one thing.
Don't do it. Don't mod it in. Don't be that guy.
In particular, it would change how like mini bosses or bosses work, because those do not. If there was Z targeting, those would not.
Yeah, I don't think locking on while you're climbing up the side of an ogre would just like fuck the camera.
No, it would have to turn off there or something.
Yeah,
that's the thing. It would fuck with the balance. That's why I love Monster Hunter's combat, is because every hit is earned because you have to be the one to place your guy there and send the swing. That's the same thing that this game does, and why I also love the combat here. Yeah, there's no like assist,
and also it's pretty lenient in your inputs anyways. Like if you do an input and you're like, even if you're not like perfectly looking at the guy, it's still going to be like, oh, obviously you're fucking attacking this guy. Like it's not ridiculous.
That's the one thing that I get a little that where I think the targeting would have been better is like if you're fighting a creature like say the Chimera and you're doing something where you don't have like you're not playing Archer but you're using projectiles. It's really hard to tell. Like I want to hit the goat head, but I'm constantly hitting the lion's head instead. You know what I mean? It'd be, if there was a way for me to more easily select
like just
body
precisely,
parts, for projectiles at the very least, that would be good. Archer gets that, but not everything else. I was about to say
Archer. Wait, what other classes you talk about? Then?
Well, like mage, for example. If
mage
you're doing the base mage
ones we haven't
attack,
yeah.
If you're doing the base mage attack, it's harder to. I was watching Frankie play, for example, my partner. I was like, "Why aren't you attacking the goat's head?" And she was just like, "Oh, well, I can't hit the goat's head from here. It just won't let me."
You can't aim?
Not that move. You can depending, and it's also spell specific for mage. Like your fire spell's a flamethrower, so you can like move a flamethrower around. But Levin's a little different. You kind of have to finesse it a bit.
I noticed that with it's like the Archer move where you like it's like the move in Monster Hunter with bow where you like get down on one knee and like draw back a really big one.
Dire.
So that one I noticed you couldn't like aim it at all. It's just like it will go pretty much center mass.
No, you can aim it.
You have to aim first and then
you have to hit
it.
Yeah.
Oh,
you have to enter aim mode first.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
There's a few moons that are like that where you have to aim it before.
Yeah.
With the little aim. Yeah. Mystic Spearhand has that.
Oh, the way that I sell the combat to people though, in case anybody's like, "Oh, I don't know, it looks weird." It's
if you're on the fence. Yeah.
It's always if you ever played or picked up Shadow of the Colossus and then were disappointed that it's a puzzle game and not an action game, this is your game.
It has action. You seen those people that get launched by that one Colossus and they learn to like land on his head and shit? Like it has it. It has it.
I don't know
if you're
about
one of those people,
game.
you're lame. That game rules.
That game is
no, but like there's a lot of white boys out there. There's a lot of disgusting crackers. A lot of disgusting.
I was gonna say you gotta call it. Call them by their fucking name. Call them crackers now.
That I told them like, oh, Shadow of the Colossus is like one of my favorite games ever, and they go, oh yeah, but like, I really wish it wasn't just
Why
the
can't
climbing.
you Z-target? Why can't you Z-target
Yeah.
the Colossi?
When would you want to Z-target in fucking Shadow of the Colossus?
I don't know, when you fight the horse.
This reminds me of like when that comment I got on YouTube where the guy's like, oh, I appreciate how unique this game is and I hope people like it, but it's not Elden Ring, so I don't think it's good.
Oh my god.
All right, just to wrap this all up, what's everyone's final thoughts on Dragon's Dogma 2? How do we sum it up for people?
It's a landmark in gaming. It's the most impressive thing to come out in a decade. I want people to play it. I know it's not going to be for everybody. I know its design sensibilities are very anti-modern, like we were talking about, but I still think it's an experience that if you truly care and if you truly put in the time, it is going to give back, and it's something that you will never forget. And I want you to never look up a guide for anything on your first playthrough.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
If you listen on New Game Plus, fucking do whatever
go
you
crazy.
want. On your first playthrough, it's magic. Like it is genuinely magic. There's something about this game that is ineffable, and I need people to experience it and to understand what I lived, because it is so fucking special.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
It is so it is a game that like Billy said, quoting K-Bash, that really wants you to give up. It is a ball busting game.
It does.
It clocks in for you at the nut crushing factory.
Do you remember the first thing I fucking messaged you when we started playing the game? The first thing I told you was, this is going to filter people.
Oh yeah. And
This is going to be a hard filter.
and a lot of people are saying, "Oh, they fixed a lot of things from the first game." And honestly, I'm going to be honest, I don't think it did. I think that this still carries a lot, and I mean a lot, of the DNA of the first game. But I also don't think that if you play the first game and didn't like it, I don't think that's a good metric for whether or not you're going to like the second one. Because this is a indie game. No, sorry. This is a AAA game with indie ideas that no fucking sane human being would ever make. But it's here. It's here, and it's magical, and it's a game that made me fucking sit down every fucking 10 minutes and go, how the fuck am I playing this? How did somebody make this? Just shit like the pawn system. Like we've barely scratched the surface on the pawn system and how
We barely
insanely
scratched the
intricate-
surface of anything we talked about.
Yeah, you need
And-
like
and how-
a multi-hour video to.
It's
Yeah, if only someone made a retrospective that's like 3 hours and 14 minutes long.
chill.
and how insanely intricate the pawn AI is, and how many billions of variations in their interactions exist, or like just the forgery system. I fucking love the
and
forgery
the
system,
forgery system, you can go your whole fucking playthrough and never even know it was there.
or the fact that there's so many things in this game, just like Billy said, that you can just completely miss. You'll never know they were there, and even if you do like see them, it's one of those games.
You don't even know how you did
It's
it.
one of those games where if you fuck up once, that's it. Because, and I love this shit so much, a lot of people hate it. Like, a lot of the negative reviews mention this. I love that the game has one save slot. I love that the game doesn't have new game on the front page. I genuinely love that, because the game wants you to live with your decisions. The game doesn't want, there's no
dude,
saves coming.
It saves. The moment you do any decision, it immediately saves.
And there's no like save slots, there's no load game, there's no nothing. And a lot of people won't like that because of the FOMO factor.
Well,
And that's-
wait! Don't let them get don't let them get knocked off. You can technically game it. There's in saves.
In rests.
Yeah, there's
in
in saves.
rests.
Don't feel
Oh,
like
yeah,
you're
there-
completely fucked.
You're not completely fucked. There's always a way around things.
I never use the in saves though. Fuck it.
Yeah. Just for the general audience, you're not completely fucked.
There's always a way. Like it does push back, but there's always a way.
Yeah.
Yeah, so my conclusion is, if you play it and you still don't like it, that's fair. The game is fucking like it is a fucking
unwavering, dude.
It is a fucking armadillo, and you gotta like skin that motherfucker to get to the juicy bit inside.
Is that
But
what
once you do get to the juicy bit, oh my god,
It's
Do you
gonna
scan
stay with you for
armadillos?
the rest of your fucking life, dog.
it's like, dude, when I beat this game, I had to fucking lie down. I had to
No, that was the concussion, bro.
I don't know about you, but man, listening to the fucking credits song, I was gonna
Hey.
cry, bro.
Hey.
That shit was
Hey,
nuts.
hey,
Hey,
What? I
don't
didn't
spoil.
say-
Hey.
You're telling me there's credits in this game?
I don't even want to hear that.
Yeah, what the fuck?
The song is like,
I don't.
I don't want to hear when you fucking beat the game. You hear, oh,
oh.
Opa.
Yeah, Red,
no,
what's
it's,
your...
Opa Dogma style.
Opa Dogma.
it's delicious. If you are sick of this woke liberal bullshit that the AAA industry is pushing,
Boo.
yellow tape, ugly
Go have
women,
sex. Go have sex with a man in Dragon's Dogma now.
Okay. You can do
Move
that.
on from Ed, Red. What are your final thoughts?
A lot of people don't know that Dragon's Dogma is a lot of the games you play. I guarantee you, Dragon's Dogma 1 is the inspiration for a lot of those games, and a lot of the mechanics and ideas from Dragon's Dogma 1 have been like brought into newer releases that you may have never realized. Like Outward was a great example of that. I think a lot of like what Outward does feels like it pulled, even if not intentionally pulled from Dragon's Dogma. Dragon's Dogma 1 was like the progenitor, if you will. It is one of my favorite games, one of my babies, and I can easily say that Dragon's Dogma 2 so far has seemed to be a better experience, which is crazy, and is probably one of my greatest games of all time. I can almost guarantee it will be. I think Capcom has something amazing here, and I want you to buy all the MTX, and buy the game 3 times so that they make a third one, please.
Yeah. Buy the MTX.
Code RAD on
Code
checkout
RAD.
for all your MDX.
No.
Yeah,
Yeah. go ahead.
I'll just close up. I think as someone who fell off on Dragon's Dogma 1, for like a few different reasons. One, the class I was playing was a bit boring. And just like there was just like some parts of it that I thought weren't great. Dragon's Dogma 2 has completely hooked me. I would disagree with Ed. I think it has fixed a lot of the issues the first game had, in my opinion.
I also agree. I think it's changed a lot more than you're giving it credit.
The combat, for one thing, feels so...
No, I'm not saying that. I think you're misunderstanding what I said then. I'm not saying that nothing changed and it's the same game and it's like, oh, I'm not like those fucking morons. That
No,
are like,
no,
oh,
no,
it's-
I don't-
It's barely a sequel. It's Dragon's Dogma
No,
1.5.
it's obviously a sequel, but I
I'm
think it
saying
fixed
that-
a lot of the
No,
things that
what-
bothered me.
Because what I think
Yeah.
about Dragon's Dogma 1 is a lot of things that people call errors or things that are bad are things that I like. I think that that are things that are features. And I think that the stuff that is fixed in this is like stuff like the pacing and whatever, which is stuff that I also think was bad about the
Yeah,
first
I mean,
game.
and also the side
the
quests. Now
pacing.
the side quests are like the game.
It was
That's
like
the
that
thing.
in the first game, though.
I also think the side quests in the first
Almost.
game are fantastic.
If you focused on trying to complete all the side quests,
I'm gonna be real. Some of the side quests were so dog shit in the first game.
oh yeah,
Like the thing is, this one has no filler. It's all killer, dude. Either way,
Anyway, I would definitely recommend if you're into any role-playing game and you have been kind of... You've gotten very...
dude.
like, not
You don't even
dissuaded,
need
but
to
like...
be into role playing games. You can just be into adventure action games.
Yeah, but like I want to say, like, if you've
know,
been
like-
burnt out by like how similar a lot of these open world RPGs have been in their formulaic nature, this game breaks free of basically all modern conventions and removes a lot of the hand-holding features and stuff like that, and is all the better for it. And it's one of those ones where you really get like absorbed into the world, the different like ways in which you can interact with it, and like how we haven't even talked about how gorgeous this game is. It's like that's the other thing.
ridiculous. It's fucking nuts. There's a reason it runs like garbage.
You crest a hill and your first look at Vernsworth, I'm never going to like forget, because it's just insane. And like from everywhere you go, as far as you can go out, you can the world's structured that you can see these landmarks, and it's it's just insane.
I'm a big RE Engine advocate. I think they have a really good engine.
I also think that the game benefits so much from I call it the Kamurocho style of open world design.
Yes, I remember every fucking place, dude. That map is in my head for the rest of my goddamn life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so everything, and it's so dense, and there's no fucking boring bits, and it's the best.
It's an achievement, like straight up.
And also,
keep saying
it does the
it's an
fucking King
achievement.
Kong thing. Watch Julian's video about King Kong, where it feels like the map is designed so that the first time you get to a zone that gives you a huge panoramic landscape, I feel like it's perfectly designed for you to only see it once you turn the camera in a direction. Does that make sense? Like, you only see this crazy, like, the first example is after, the game starts, and then fucking you're getting escorted to the gay little outpost, and you're following this, like, little soldier guy.
Yeah.
And then you walk through some trees, and then you turn left, and you see the entire map. It's such a great moment. And that's when I was like, oh my God, this game's amazing. It's like that fucking guy who like swings in Spider-Man 2 for like half a second. He goes, this is the best game ever made. That was me. That was me in that moment.
It's like in Elden Ring when you exit the starter area and then you see how big the place is.
And then you see the big tree.
It's exactly like, if you like Elden Ring, this is a carbon copy of Elden Ring.
I mean,
Play this game.
Genuinely though, if you did like Elden Ring, you might really like this game, man. You might really, really like it.
If you like good things, you might like this.
Other good.
Anyway, again, moral of the story, game's great. If you want to find out why people like the Thirst one and you don't want to play it, there is a great retrospective on SuperRAD's channel you can check out. It's 3 hours long. Referenced it earlier.
Me?
Some guy.
Crazy.
Some fucking guy.
Is Ed 3 hours long? I thought it was 30 minutes.
Some chill.
Yeah, if you don't have 30 minutes, if you don't have 3 hours.
Some Capcom. Yeah, watch Ed's if you don't want to waste 3 hours.
If you don't have 3 hours and you're also invited to the honorary clan meeting after this recording, then watch.
Oh my God.
He means Call of Duty clan meeting.
No, I don't.
That's still bad.
Okay.
They're still racist.
Him and his homies from his Warzone clan hang out in the woods after recording.
Not Warzone. It's Tarkov. It's Tarkov.
Oh no.
It's Gray Zone or whatever that new game is.
Anyway, thanks everyone for listening.
We sounded like shills.
I mean, once that chick clears, I will.
Thank you to Capcom for paying me $1 million.
No, that's not that.
Thank you, Capcom, for the free Wake Stones.
Thank you for giving me every MTX for free.
No, we did not get that. That's not a thing.
Yeah, thanks everyone for listening. Thanks SuperRAD. Thanks Id, Punk Duck. You guys can check out their channels. They're good.
And don't forget to buy the character edit vouchers in Monster Hunter World.
Buy the Art of Metamorphosis on the Steam page.
Hey, thanks so much for listening. This episode would not have been possible without the help from our patrons, such as Alan Diver, Arta Vaughan, Beck Davis, Bure, Blind But Funny, Boopaloo, Brain Soup, Caffeine Addicted Chemist, Cassandra Crash, Chris Chapman, Christian Van Angen, Delling City, Dog Named Bear, DX Studios, Echo Stalker, Eric Scott Gillies, Ethereal, Geef, Generic Phoenix, Guy Beam, Handsome Destiny, Kawaii Boy Toy, Lambda Man, Leo the Geotech, Mediocre Client, Mr. Shirt, Random Diamonds, Rocco the Raccoon, Smeet Mono, Spherical May, The Frost Ace, Uber, Winnie Rab, Will9455, and Woodstock. Thanks so much for listening, and we'll see you next time.